Chapter 156. In Death Valley. All the swords had disappeared, and the gravity had returned to normal. Because the spirit swords had been taken away, the formation here had been destroyed, and this place had become an ordinary valley. Jiang Li couldn't train even if he wanted to. But at this moment, he was trying his best to subdue 49 flying swords. These flying swords weren't as powerful as the spirit swords, but they were very powerful. Each one could cut through a mecha with supersonic speed. As long as one's mental power was strong enough, it would be easy to slash at several times the speed of sound. Normal flying swords were just a bit more than the speed of sound. For example, Meng Xingyun's flying sword could only reach 1 to 2 times the speed of sound at full power. And each of these swords was 5 to 6 times the speed of sound, or even faster. Even if he subdued just one of them, it would be enough to grind Meng Xingyun's flying sword to pieces. Moreover, these flying swords were a set. With each additional sword, their power would increase by another level. With 49 flying swords combined, Hong Dark Prison and the battleship's energy could only barely suppress them, and not for long. Ding ding dang dang, as long as Jiang Li's mental power entered the Grand Emperor relic space, he could see the sword chi crisscrossing and stabbing each other. Once released, it would be a disaster. Even Hong Heiyu would be flustered. "Teacher, how do I subdue the flying swords inside? My mental power isn't enough to control so many flying swords." "Control them one by one. Drip blood as a sacrifice to suppress the sword's spirituality, and then become one with the sword. Your spirit Grand Emperor seal has the might of a Grand Emperor, so subduing these flying swords isn't difficult. This is a kind of training for you. I can help you with this, but it will be one less training for you." Hong Heiyu also sensed that Jiang Li's mental power was crisscrossing and difficult to subdue. He smiled instead. "This training is very difficult. Qin Tianshu only took away the spirit swords and left the 49 flying swords for you. These are the child swords. With the child swords, you will have the chance to subdue the mother sword in the future. Of course, with his dignity, he won't steal your things." Jiang Li could also see that Qin Tianshu had no intention of stealing his Grand Emperor relic, even though he was observing it. Just like that, the two of them began training here. Their main goal was to subdue flying swords. Every day, Jiang Li would use his mind to aim at a flying sword in the depths of space and communicate with it non-stop. At the same time, he would also find an opportunity to take out one of the flying swords. Then, he would use his embryonic breath to absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth and pour it into the depths of the flying sword. At this time, Hong Heiyu's usefulness showed itself. He didn't help Jiang Li subdue the flying swords. Instead, he directly provided spirit stones. He had a large reserve of spirit stones in his battleship, and he took them out for free to provide for Jiang Li's cultivation. He was rich and extremely powerful. Now that his mental state had improved by a level, it would be easier for him to earn money in the future. With the resources provided by him, Jiang Li also found out how flying swords were refined in the cultivation world. His body and mind were extremely strong, and he used the Great Spirit Emperor imprint to control the mind within the flying swords, making them one with his heart. Every time he refined it and communicated with it, his brain cells and spirit cultivation would be strengthened to the next level. 3 days later, he finally subdued the first flying sword. When that flying sword circled around his body and danced up and down. It was only as thick as a finger and was as fast as lightning. A bright light circled up and down, and Jiang Li felt that it was his arm, his organ. Their minds were connected, and it would never betray him again. In the beginning, suppressing a flying sword was called suppression. But now this was called subduing it. It could even be taken a step further. This flying sword could turn into metal attribute energy, and he could refine it into a sword pellet that could fuse into the depths of his bones and change his life. Sword bones, sword man. Of course, this was something for the future. Right now, Jiangli could only control one flying sword to slash up and down. There are 3 realms in refining a sword. The first is command like an arm, the second is illuminated sword heart, and the third is one with the sword. Hong Heiyu said, "You are only at the stage of command like an arm, and you are far from reaching the illuminated sword heart. The so-called illuminated sword heart is when I am cultivating, and I forget about myself and everything else. When I encounter danger, the flying sword will automatically go out to slay people. It has intelligence and is equivalent to my own protector." Jiang Li immediately followed up. He was very familiar with the sacrificial refining of flying swords. "Kid, you are quite familiar with it." Hong Heiyu smiled and didn't say anything else. "Continue to cultivate. I estimate that with your current mental strength, you can at most subdue 5 flying swords. To completely subdue 49 flying swords, you will at least need to reach Chongding. 5 flying swords is also enough to sweep through the 4 directions and slay everything." Jiang Li spat out a breath of air, and the finger-thick small sword landed in his palm like a crystal hairpin. No one could imagine that this small sword could completely slice open a sonic mecha, and even release a sword beam that could sweep through an army of 1,000. "Go!" Jiang Li pointed once more. In an instant, the flying sword seemed to teleport away. It cut down a giant serpent dozens of kilometers away, and then it returned. It really had the feeling of 1,000 miles away to find the enemy's head. Of course, under his mental control, this flying sword could only fly for 30 miles at most. Any further would be extremely difficult because his mental strength could only extend so far. Everyone's thoughts were limited in how far they could extend. Under normal circumstances, even experts at Deding would only be able to extend their mental strength by 1 or a few kilometers. To extend it for 30 miles, one would need to reach a very deep level of Deding. In other words, Jiang Li's realm wasn't at Deding, but the intensity of his mental strength and mental strength weren't inferior to Deding. He was a high-level hypnotist. "My mental strength can fly for 30 miles. Hong Heiyu was very satisfied. "After receiving my training, your mental strength has increased by a lot. Continue to accumulate like this and become stronger bit by bit. Let me measure your brain cells. What is the frequency of your brain waves?" He turned on his optical computer and began to check. A shocking number appeared. "Your brain frequency is 100,000 times that of an ordinary person and more than 10 times that of a Deding expert." Hong Heiyu finished his check. "In other words, if you go back now, you can hypnotize 100,000 people in one go. When I go back, I can become rich just by hypnotizing people." Jiang Li couldn't help but laugh. "Look at you. That's all you've got?" Hong Heiyu took out a spirit stone. "Accumulate your mental strength and subdue 5 flying swords. Your mental strength will continue to grow. These flying swords contain the mental strength of the previous owner. After you subdue them, the formless mental strength will become yours. This isn't just a little bit of growth." "All right, I will continue subduing them." The blood secreted from Jiang Li's finger mixed with the spirit stone and seeped into the Grand Emperor Relic's space. He continued his grand task of subduing the flying swords. Another month passed. A teacher and a student. They cultivated in front of Death Valley, forgetting everything else. Jiang Li would experience something new every day. Hong Heiyu was wholeheartedly nurturing him. The teacher and disciple studied the Mind Great Emperor Seal together. They were completely immersed in martial arts. In this 1 month, Jiang Li completely digested the training in Death Valley. Beheading, cutting at the waist, disemboweling, digging out the heart, and all the other hellish tortures were completely eliminated. What was left was only indifference to life and death. After subduing the 5 flying swords, his mental strength increased once again. The range of his mental strength could extend to 50 li, almost doubling. The foundation of mental strength was the brain cells. Brain cells were also a part of life force. Therefore, his life force was also rising steadily. After absorbing large amounts of heaven and earth spiritual energy and using spirit stones, even his blood was changing. During the refinement process, the metal energy of the flying swords seeped into his bones, causing them to have a faint layer of gold. His bones seemed to have started to transform into a metal-type existence. This kind of bone was truly reinforced iron. It increased his jumping ability, bearing capacity, toughness, and explosive power by several times. His vitality had been tested and it had reached 48. This vitality gradually revealed his tyrannical side. With a wave of his hand, astral energy shot out in all directions. When he struck in the air, the wind and clouds surged. In the air, he could even control the airflow to run for a short period of time. And Hong Heiyu's cultivation was even more powerful. After obtaining the cultivation method of the Mind Great Emperor Seal, he was no longer as dark as before. Instead, he was peaceful and auspicious. He was like a great bodhisattva from hell who had obtained the Tao of Mahakasyapa. An aura as vast as the sea and as steady as a mountain was emitted from his body. Jiang Li didn't know what level his teacher had reached, but he knew that his teacher's epiphany would raise his spiritual cultivation by a huge realm. For people like them, raising their realm was harder than ascending to the heavens. But once they did, it would be a qualitative leap. It wasn't impossible for them to be 10 times stronger than before. Rumble. Hong Heiyu began to cultivate. At night, he suddenly inhaled and exhaled. Immediately, with himself as the center, the space within a few kilometers around him rippled. Countless white mists appeared out of nowhere. These white mists surged violently and whistled towards Hong Heiyu's body. The white mists were the heaven and earth spiritual energy that seeped out from the second dimension. They were pulled out by Hong Heiyu's powerful mental strength. This kind of cultivation was simply earth-shattering. Swallowing clouds and spitting out mists was no different from the legendary immortals. Just like that, he continuously inhaled and exhaled for a whole night before stopping. Jiang Li calculated. The white mists that were condensed from the spiritual energy could probably be condensed into a small pool. When they were all absorbed into Hong Heiyu's body, it was like a small river flowing into the sea. There was no sign of saturation at all. With this kind of throughput, how strong is the energy contained in the body? Jiang Li was secretly shocked. Even a human-shaped nuclear reactor wasn't enough to describe it. In reality, people who had reached the embryonic breathing realm would be closely monitored by the human government. This was because such people's destructive power was too strong. They could casually wipe out an army, tear apart any mecha, and destroy battleships. When the energy contained in their bodies exploded, they could destroy cities. Hong Heiyu was in the deep middle embryonic breathing realm, but he wasn't an expert who had just entered the embryonic breathing realm. You have subdued 5 flying swords, and your vitality has reached 48. We can go back. This time's cultivation has come to an end. You are free to do whatever you want. Let me try out the power of the 5 flying swords. Jiang Li suddenly moved. 5 streaks of lightning flew out from his body. With a flash, it became a sky full of sword rain. It enveloped a huge rock 10 miles away. This rock was very hard, but under the sky full of sword rain, it immediately turned into dust. The sword light swept past like locusts, leaving only the flying powder in the sky. Good, 5 flying swords. The power is indeed strong. Hong Heiyu couldn't help but exclaim. Even a mecha with a speed of sound would be turned into dust in one blow. When you have subdued 49 flying swords, that power can even tear apart battleship. Chapter 157. The 5 flying swords fell into Jiang Li's hand with a long hum. They looked like 5 exquisite crystal hairpins. He could grab them with one hand. He could also put them in his pocket or even stick them in his hair. Of course, Jiang Li's hair was short, so he would have to wait for his hair to grow longer. They're really powerful. How much would one of these flying swords cost? Jiang Li asked Hong Heiyu. He actually wanted to sell them for money. They're much more expensive than the Starfish battleship. Even the big shots in the elite zone would fight over them. There's basically no such thing on the market now. Even if there were, it would be sold out. They're priceless treasures. Hong Heiyu checked the information on the optical computer. Things like flying swords can be sold in the online auction house of Star Sky University, but each one is unbelievably expensive. This is because they're different from guns. After years of refinement, they can gradually transform into energy and integrate into the body. After becoming one with the sword, your life force will increase tremendously. There were many modern weapons that looked more powerful than flying swords. However, the flying sword was more expensive than them, because the flying sword could be integrated into the body in the end. Moreover, in the long-term sacrificial refining process, the human body would be infected by the metal spiritual chi of the flying sword, and it would become stronger and stronger. Its vitality and lethality would increase significantly. For example, if you obtained a flying sword and cultivated it every day while others cultivated normally without a flying sword, then after a year and a half, the person with a flying sword would have significantly higher life force than the person without a flying sword. Flying swords were also beneficial for cultivation. They could strengthen the metal structure of the body and change the form of life. This was the power of a sword immortal. The reason why Jiang Li's life force increased so quickly was because he had subdued the 5 flying swords and refined them with spirit stones day and night. His body was also contaminated with sword energy. Under his skin, there was a layer of basified flesh. The layer was originally green, but now it was tinged with faint silver and gold. That was the aura of metal, and its defense was extremely high. Ordinary swords couldn't even cut his body. As he refined more and more flying swords, his body would undergo a qualitative change, becoming a different kind of high-level flesh and blood, similar to metal. This was the beginning of genetic change. Of course, this wasn't the evil path. It was the orthodox path, because the Buddha had the 6 feet golden body. The golden body, the immortality of the metal, was the beginning of immortality. The cultivation session came to an end. Hong Heiyu and Jiang Li boarded the battleship and returned to the human base. Jiang Li's strength had increased by leaps and bounds, but he couldn't use the space in the Grand Emperor's relic anymore. That was because there were 44 flying swords in the depths of the space, and they were constantly stabbing at him. Spatial sword chi was everywhere, and anyone or anything that got sucked into it would be sliced into pieces. Therefore, this space could be considered useless. It could neither store items nor hide people in it. Of course, sooner or later, Jiang Li would subdue all 49 flying swords, and then the space would be freed. If I go to Earth's black market now, I'll probably be invincible, right? Sonic Mecha? I can cut you into pieces from 50 miles away. Jiang Li had the thought of returning to Earth and completely driving the Jiang family out of the black market. With his current strength, he indeed had the ability to do so. However, it wasn't the holiday season at Star Sky University, and he couldn't ask for leave to go back. Back at the human base, he turned on the optical computer and contacted Dahe. Dahe appeared, its body bigger than before, like a fierce tiger, dark and heavy. Its body was at least a ton, the horn on its head emitted lightning, and its fur was glossy and shiny. It wasn't a black cat at all, but a mutated monster. Jiang Li could feel the aura and power exuding from its body even through the network. Jiang Li, what's up? Dahe said lazily. Next to it, the Flower Mask King, De Meng, and the other cats scrambled to climb onto the screen, waving their paws. Jiang Li, how are you doing at Star Sky University? Stop it. The big cat twisted its chubby body, sweeping the other cats aside with its tail. Jiang Li, are you here to ask about the Sun and Moon group? Now the Sun and Moon Group has retaken control of the black market, and it's getting bigger and bigger. They have 10 sonic mechas and a high-level hypnotist, but I can't find out who the hypnotist is. We are not in the black market now, in case the hypnotist finds out. I know the Jiang family will retake the black market. Jiang Li's eyes flashed. But don't worry, I will be back at the end of this semester. At that time, I will destroy them all. 10 sonic mechas, they can indeed do whatever they want, but they are definitely not my opponent. What? Dahei's chubby body jumped up, extremely flexible. You have grown to this level? Star Sky University is so amazing? Yes, I found a good teacher. Jiangli, when I come back, you will follow me to the Emperor's Star, we will train together, your cultivation will be faster. No problem. The big black tiger roared, my genetic research is going pretty well now. My body shape is gradually changing, but it's a pity that I don't have enough money. The 100 million you transferred to me last time, I only managed to achieve some results before it's all gone. Hurry up, transfer me money. Money, I need money. His expression was greedy, changing from a lucky cat to a greedy cat. Big brother, I also don't have money, the mentor invested billions on me, and now I have subdued a few flying swords, I need spirit stones. You wait, I will work hard to make money. Jiangli checked his card. It was empty, only a few 100,000 left. This amount of money couldn't do anything. He couldn't ask his mentor for money. He wasn't Hong Heiyu's biological son. Although Hong Black Prison now seemed to treat him like his own son, asking him for money was simply the behavior of a beast. Of course, Jiangli was definitely not the kind of person who would ask for money. Money must be earned openly. There were many opportunities to make money in Star Sky University. Let's see what missions are available. Jiangli searched the mission list. There were all kinds of strange missions, and he could find ways to make money from them. Moreover, there were too many treasures and resources on the Emperor's Star. He could casually go out and find a lot of things that could be sold for money. I have the space, I can carry a lot of things, even if I pick herbs, I can still make money. Jiangli found a few good missions, but he suddenly remembered that he couldn't use the space anymore. He sighed. Such a large space allowed him to carry a lot of resources, and he could go to many dangerous places, even into volcanoes and magma. But now, he needed a battleship. In other words, his ability to make money was greatly reduced, and many of his plans fell through. On the optical computer, there were many types of missions for Star Sky University. Those that wanted to make money required him to enter dangerous areas. Even a battleship could be destroyed, but with the Great Emperor's relic, there was almost no force that could destroy it. Unfortunately, he couldn't use it. Many of Jiang Li's abilities were sealed. He could only find other ways to make money. The teacher didn't arrange for me to train these days, and let me move around freely. I wonder how my teammates are. Their burns should be healed. He immediately contacted Li Zhen and the others. But the reply was, training with the teacher, optical computer on standby. It turned out that Hong Heiyu had gone to train them. Now, because Jiang Li was very strong, Hong Black Prison had to give him individual training in order to have any result. The other teammates had to undergo separate training. Oh my God, I wish you all good luck. Jiang Li drew a cross on his chest. He remembered training with Hong Heiyu, when he was cut in half at the waist and beheaded. It still felt like a dream. He could almost see the miserable training of his disciples, but Hong Heiyu would never let them die. As long as they could survive, they would surely have great achievement. I'll be free these days. I'll think of ways to train and raise my cultivation while earning money. I'll go complete some herb-gathering missions. There are many treasures on the Imperial Star, and some are even more effective than the Fruit of Life. Jiang Li couldn't even afford the Fruit of Life. Star Sky University's students had to carry the Fruit of Life with them. Otherwise, it would be too late if they encountered danger. This is the mission. Go to the Black Dragon Pond to collect the dragon-seeking grass. Suddenly, Jiangli found a mission that was suitable for him. It was a place called the Black Dragon Pond. There was a plant called the dragon-seeking grass that grew there. It was very nutritious and contained powerful energy. It was of a higher grade than the fruit of life and was very expensive. But the dragon-seeking grass was the food of a black dragon, so it was very dangerous to go there. Moreover, he had to go very deep in the water to obtain it. The black dragon wasn't a real dragon, but a giant snake. The Black Dragon Pond wasn't a deep pond, but a huge lake that spanned hundreds of thousands of square kilometers. There was once a student who drove a battleship down there, but the battleship was sunk by the giant snake. Therefore, those who wanted to collect the dragon-seeking grass had to sneak in silently. They had to drive a battleship or even a mecha. If they alerted the black snake, they would definitely die. It was very dangerous to dive in with one's body. Not to mention the water pressure, there were turbulent undercurrents and other hidden monsters. There was a high chance that one wouldn't be able to return. However, Jiangli could rest underwater and absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Moreover, he had the protection of his flying sword. It was the most suitable place to collect the dragon-seeking grass. Each dragon-seeking grass was extremely expensive. He could use it himself. After consuming it, there would be an additional dragon breath in his body. This was also a special kind of energy. Those who consumed it could improve their physique and make their bloodline stronger. They would also have some legendary dragon attribute. This grass was now used in scientific experiments and made into many precious medicines. Unfortunately, they were only circulated in the elite zone. Jiangli knew that the dragon-seeking grass was also a treasure in the cultivation world. The dragon breath it contained could neutralize the spiritual qi of the flying sword's metal attribute, allowing him to further fuse with the flying sword. In the future, there was hope for him to refine the flying sword and fuse it into his body. Therefore, this was killing two birds with one stone. Let's go to the Black Dragon Pond. He was about to move. But at this moment, the door to the room was suddenly opened. A few people in white armor walked in. You are Jiangli, right? There's one thing that we have to investigate. Chapter 158. Investigate me? What's the matter? Seeing several investigators walk in, Jiangli was surprised at first, but then calmed down. The people in white armor represented Star Sky University's law enforcement team. Some of them were senior students, some were soldiers of Star Sky University. Each of them was very strong. The white armor was a special type of mecha that could move at the speed of sound. It could even penetrate a building in an instant. Investigators were a special group of people in Star Sky University. They represented the school's rules and laws, and no one dared to offend them. It's about LV Jean. You rescued LV Jean, but there are many suspicious points. We must investigate you. A soldier in white armor came forward. With a shake of his hand, handcuffs and ankle cuffs appeared. Put them on yourself. Bang. The handcuffs and ankle cuffs fell to the ground, making a violent sound. They were heavy and seemed to be made of a special metal. Moreover, they contained extremely strong electric energy. Jiangli recognized that this was a special torture device of Star Sky University. Once put on, the person would not be able to resist and would be completely at the mercy of others. Because as long as one moved, it would release a high-voltage current and knock the person out. He would never wear this kind of thing. Moreover, he didn't commit any crime and saved people. How could he be investigated? And he had to wear the torture device. Outrageous! I will not wear this kind of thing. Jiangli began to feel angry, but he suppressed it. I have credit for saving people, why do I need to wear this thing? Did I commit a crime? Whether you are guilty or not is not something you can say. We need to investigate to determine. Now that you are a criminal suspect, it is normal for you to wear the torture device. This is the normal procedure of Star Sky University. Do you want to be expelled? A soldier in white armor suddenly shouted, "Student does not follow the procedure and does not accept the investigation. The first thing we will do is to cancel your student status. Think about it, you worked so hard to get into Star Sky University. Is it worth it to ruin your future because of this? Cancel my student status? Why don't you try canceling it?" What kind of person was Jiangli? His mind was calm. He had experienced being cut in half at the waist and beheaded. Why would he be afraid of the threat of canceling his student status? "You've got guts." A soldier was taken aback. He didn't expect that Jiangli would not be intimidated. He couldn't help but sneer. "Troublemaker, there are many students like him who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Why bother? Since you don't want to put it on yourself, we'll have to do it for you." Kacha kacha. The warrior suddenly erupted with power, and the engine in his armor erupted with an earth-shattering might. "Wait, I can go with you, but I won't wear this thing." Jiangli suddenly waved his hand, and astral energy surged out. A transparent wall of energy appeared in front of him, rumbling as it blocked the warrior's explosive attack. The soldier's body was unsteady, and he actually took 2 steps back. Such a powerful innate chi? These investigators were all shocked. They were also experts, so they could naturally see that Jiangli had casually waved his hand, causing the air in the room to surge violently and condense together. Everyone felt suffocated. "I'm not that easy to bully," Jiangli said slowly. "If you want to investigate, then investigate. Don't make me look like a criminal. I, a student with a vitality of 4.8, am standing here talking to you. If you still want to insult me, then I won't be polite anymore." "What? Vitality 4.8? The white-armored warrior who was about to attack stopped. Cosmic Star University's freshmen generally had vitality between 2 and 3. 4.8 was considered outstanding among the older students. Before they came, they had already investigated Jiang Li's background, and it was absolutely not that high. But seeing how the other side moved slightly, everyone was shocked. It was very likely that what he said was true. "Okay, you come with us, no need to wear shackles." A warrior put away the shackles. "I hope you can cooperate with our investigation. Let's go." Another warrior gave a look to his companions, and stepped forward to clear the way. 4 warriors, 2 at the front and 2 at the back, sandwiched Jiangli in the middle, and boarded a flying car outside. The flying car flew in this human base, and after more than 10 minutes, it stopped in front of a heavily guarded building. The 4 got off again, escorted Jiangli in the middle, and went upstairs to a huge interrogation room. The interrogation room was empty, and there was a square table in front of it. Several people sat in front of the square table. Jiang Li's heart skipped a beat when he noticed that one of them was Song Shuren. There were also a few mentors that he didn't know, but they all had a serious face, coldly staring at him, seemingly quite hostile. Especially Song Shuren, he had a feeling that he wanted to die. In the middle of the interrogation room, there was a large chair, which was the interrogation chair for the prisoner to sit on. Jiang Li also knew the rules of Cosmic Star University. Any prisoner who committed a crime must sit on it. Once sitting on it, the prisoner's whole body would be tied up, and the interrogator could manipulate the chair to perform all kinds of torture, such as electric current, fire, acupuncture, injection. This was the interrogation room for serious criminals. "Report. The suspect has been brought here," a warrior said fiercely. "Here? Why isn't there any shackles? This is against our interrogation procedure. Is the suspect resisting?" Several mentors in charge of the interrogation, especially the old man Song Shuren, swept their eyes over, very sharp. Yes, the suspect resisted violently, only willing to be questioned, not shackled. The warrior reported. "Escort him to the interrogation chair. Record his resistance, and punish him for both crimes." Song Shuren waved his hand. "Yes." The 4 warriors once again surrounded him. "Wait!" Jiang Li stood still. I'm here to be interrogated and cooperate with your investigation. Why do I look like a prisoner? What crime did I commit? Do I need to sit on the interrogation chair? Young man, know your place. A mentor knocked on the table and took out a document. Your crimes are very serious: colluding with extraterrestrials, persecuting students. Someone reported you, and we have done a lot of speculation before coming here to interrogate you. You need to understand your crimes. What a joke! In that instant, Jiang Li knew that someone was trying to frame him. In Cosmic Star University, he had enemies. The first was the Jiang family, the second was mentor Gui Junzi and Meng Xingyun, and the third was Song Shuren and that scum student LV Jean. I saved someone, this is a merit, but not only did the university not reward me, they even framed me for colluding with extraterrestrials and persecuting students? Where's the evidence? Bang! Song Shuren slammed the table. Shut up. We have conclusive evidence, you can't deny it. Brother Jiang, let him know what evidence is. That's fine too. Let's first list out the evidence of his crimes so that he'll be convinced. That way, he won't say that we didn't teach him a lesson. The most profound instructor turned on his photon computer. Immediately, many words and pictures appeared. This instructor was addressed as Brother Jiang by Song Shuren. This caused Jiang Li's heart to tremble. He's from the Jiang clan. The mentor surnamed Jiang didn't look at Jiang Li at all, instead starting to list out the crimes. First, your mentor Hong Heiyu colluded with the powerful native Chen Tianshu, even calling him his father-in-law. This makes you the first suspect. Second, the native Nie Wanxiong is Chen Tianshu's last disciple. Chen Tianshu used a supreme divine ability to plant a holy embryo in his body. Such a powerful force is impossible to rescue. Third, many of our mentors know this is a conspiracy, so we didn't rescue him because we wanted to lure the snake out of its hole, to see if there are any traitors in Cosmic Star University. Any traitor will definitely rescue them, conspire with the enemy, and win our trust. Fourth, Chen Tianshu condensed a holy embryo in Nie Wanxiong's body. He will be monitoring every move. We have no confidence in rescuing them, so why did you rescue them? Chen Tianshu didn't do anything. Fifth, after rescuing LV Jean, why did you hypnotize him? Is it because he killed extraterrestrials, and you are one of them, so you hate him and want to destroy his spiritual cultivation? The 5 crimes were all clear, accusing and framing Jiang Li, wanting him to fall into the abyss of eternal damnation. Do you have anything else to refute? If not, then sit in the interrogation chair and confess your crimes in detail, and we will give you a lenient sentence. The mentor surnamed Jiang finished reading out the crimes and leaned back in his chair, looking calm and composed, as if he was certain of Jiang Li's crimes. What's your name? Jiang Li asked. Jiang Hailong. The mentor's face darkened when he heard Jiang Li's bad tone, but he still answered. This was a necessary procedure for the trial, and he didn't want to be caught. So it's the high generation of the Sun and Moon Corporation's Jiang family. Looks like you want to use your power to take revenge? Jiang Li smiled. First, you have to ask my mentor Hong Heiyu. Do you have the ability to send him here to talk? Second, I have a magic treasure that my mentor gave me. It's nothing to destroy Nie Wanxiong's holy embryo and rescue his disciple. But now that the magic treasure has been returned to my mentor, you still have to ask my mentor to come and confront him. Third, you didn't rescue him, but you blame me for saving him. That's ridiculous. Fourth, you have to ask Chen Tianshu why he didn't come out. How would I know? I'm only responsible for saving people. Fifth, LV Jean is a scum. He attacked me first, so I got off lightly by hypnotizing him. One by one, Jiang Li refuted the 5 accusations cleanly. How dare you? How dare you quibble? Song Shuren slammed the table. Put him on the interrogation chair. Let's see if he can still quibble. Boom! A warrior immediately pounced. Get out. Jiang Li didn't move and only said 3 words. The warrior froze for a moment and stopped moving completely. His body rolled on the ground with a thud. Hypnosis. The other warrior was shocked. How dare you hypnotize us? You get out too. Jiang Li didn't even look and pointed. This soldier also copied the previous one and rolled out with a thud. Roar. 2 more warriors suddenly pounced. However, there was a flash of sword light. All of their power was gone. They stopped not too far away from Jiang Li. The mecha on their bodies broke into pieces and fell to the ground. The hard white mecha was cut open like tofu. The place where the engine's power source was cut was the critical point. Jiang Li had only used one flying sword. If he used all 5 of them, the 2 warriors in front of him would have been turned into mincemeat. In the blink of an eye, they would have been sliced into pieces. Chapter 159. The mecha, which was so tough that even small missiles couldn't tear it apart, was torn apart like tofu. The 2 soldiers stood rooted to the ground, their faces ashen. They saw a ray of light circle around them, and their mecha's outer shell was torn apart. Their bodies were penetrated by the dense sword chi, and their internal organs were in excruciating pain. They knew that this was Jiang Li's warning. If they took another step, they would be chopped into meat paste. Flying sword. Song Shuren was shocked, and he stared at Jiang Li. It's not an ordinary flying sword, it's a flying sword that's about to become an energy body. It's of high quality, and it has the chance to become a spiritual sword. Jiang Hailong's eyes exploded, and a ball of light flashed. Then, he calmed down, and greed appeared on his face, like a crocodile that had caught its prey. The other 2 professors were also shocked, but they looked at each other and didn't say anything. It was obvious that they were just dragged here to listen, and the ones in charge of the interrogation were Jiang Hailong and Song Shuren. Jiang Li, do you know what the consequences are? Song Shuren was happy. Attacking a law enforcement soldier without permission and destroying a mecha, you can't even bear this crime. Dropping out of school is a light punishment. That's right, even if you weren't guilty before, this crime is very serious. Jiang Hailong also seized the opportunity. The video must be kept. It's useless no matter how you deny it. Young man, you are too impulsive. I can't bear it. Song Shuren's face was full of smiles. Actually, you should have endured for a while. Even if we interrogate you and force you to confess, you should have endured for a while. We wouldn't dare to kill you. But you actually broke the rules and rewarded the interrogators. This is a blatant violation of the rules, and Star Sky University can no longer tolerate you. Young and impetuous, you will pay the price for being impulsive. Jiang Hailong also shook his head. I overestimated you. Actually, I know what you are thinking. You think that everything is under Hong Heiyu's protection. Hong Heiyu is strong, but he can't cover the sky with one hand. To tell you the truth, you should give up on his idea of standing up for you. Even if he did, it would be useless, because I'm also in the embryonic stage. Rumble. Jiang Hailong's body gave off a powerful aura as a wave of energy circulated within his body. An energy body holy fetus appeared behind him. This holy fetus was a giant that held an energy snake and stood on an energy dragon. The snake hissed, dragon roared, and tiger roared. Hong Heiyu's enemy is Gue Junzi. Both of them are equally matched in strength, and my strength is exactly the same as Gue Junzi's. We are both senior teachers of the academy. Even if Hong Heiyu appears in front of me, he wouldn't dare to act rashly. After Jiang Hailong released his aura, he took control of the situation. Jiang Li, remove your weapons. That is, hand over your flying sword. In front of me, you will not have a chance to resist. Embryonic breathing, Jiang Li's expression was solemn as he remained motionless. The 5 flying swords on his body suddenly intertwined and transformed into a dense net of swords that wrapped around him. From afar, he looked like a huge silkworm spinning a cocoon. Anyone in the embryonic breathing realm would definitely have a vitality of 2 digits, which was a crushing power for him. However, he was not afraid. Even if he was facing a strong person, he was confident that he could fight. After being tempered by death, his soul no longer had any fear and would not be threatened by others. 5 flying swords. This time, Jiang Hailong was really moved. Every flying sword is priceless. You actually have 5 of them in a row? I can't tolerate it. A criminal like you possessing such a killing weapon will definitely bring a devastating blow to our Starry Sky University. Give it to me. Swoosh. His body pounced, and the huge holy fetus behind him grabbed at Jiangli. The holy fetus was energy, so it was not afraid of the flying swords. Only a spiritual sword could destroy energy. However, just as he pounced over, there was a rumbling vibration from the ground. A huge hand emerged from the ground and blocked in front of Jiangli. This huge hand covered the sky and the sun. As soon as it appeared, it formed a seal. In a flash, it changed thousands of times and slapped the air. Jiang Hailong's entire body, together with the holy fetus, was sent flying. He hit the wall hard and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His entire body was dispirited and listless. He was already seriously injured. The entire interrogation room was filled with alarms. However, the huge hand on the ground gradually changed into a human shape. It was Hong Heiyu, an energy body. However, his appearance was exactly the same as Hong Heiyu. He had emerged from the ground and had remarkable powers. You actually dare to bully my student? Jiang Hailong? You're really daring, huh? You deliberately framed my disciple. Do you really think that you, a mere first-tier embryonic breathing realm, can contend with me? Once Hong Heiyu's energy body appeared, the 10 black gas behind him turned into totem poles. On each totem pole, there were ghostly wails and howls, as if there were millions of wronged souls entangled on them. 10-directional Hell Dao, Great Success Realm. Hell-suppressing Divine Pillar. Jiang Hailong struggled to get up. He stared at Hong Heiyu's energy body. You have broken through the first-tier psychokinesis and reached the Divine Breath Realm? That's right. I have already far surpassed you and surpassed Gui Junzi. Hong Heiyu stood with his hands behind his back. The 10 black totem poles behind him suppressed everything. Even the interrogation room's alarm had been deactivated. If you don't want to die, get out of my sight. We are following the proper procedures to interrogate your student. Hong Heiyu, do you know that you will be sent to the military court for doing this? Song Shuren roared. Kneel. Hong Heiyu looked at Song Shuren. He didn't speak to him, but just said 2 words. Thump. Song Shuren felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He immediately knelt down. What are you? I gave you face last time, but you didn't appreciate it. Today, you actually used the procedures to frame my student. Hong Heiyu looked at Song Shuren with disdain. I will teach you a lesson. I will let you know that in this world, only power is the only thing. The legal system and procedures are secondary. Hong Heiyu, you. Song Shuren knelt on the ground. He was still conscious. You have violated the laws of Star Sky University. You will be punished. He couldn't get up. He couldn't control his body. But he could still feel the humiliation of kneeling. This was the most painful torture. Do you believe that I will make you eat shit? Hong Heiyu's eyes flashed. I, Hong Heiyu, never care about other people's threats. You guys colluded to set up a small interrogation room. Do you think you represent Star Sky University's laws? What a joke. Get out of my sight. If I see you again within 10 breaths, you will end up worse than this. Let's go. Jiang Hailong vomited another mouthful of blood. He knew that he wasn't Hong Heiyu's opponent this time. He couldn't use the law to oppress him. Hong Heiyu was extremely strong. Now that he had improved further, he would definitely be appreciated by the higher-ups of humanity. Not by the higher-ups of Star Sky University, but by the higher-ups of humanity. After all, people like him were rare. Once he advanced to the next realm, his status would increase tenfold. After the embryonic breathing realm, it was impossible to advance to the next realm. Only those geniuses who were invincible and had great luck could advance. Once they advanced, the higher-ups of humanity would attach great importance to them. They would instantly promote them. From this, it could be seen that the higher-ups of humanity knew about Hong Heiyu's advancement. That was why he was so unscrupulous. When he left, he patted Song Shuren's body. Song Shuren also stood up and left with the other two mentors. He was unwilling, but he had no choice. "Why aren't you leaving?" Hong Heiyu glanced at the four warriors. Let's go, let's go." The four warriors hurriedly rolled and crawled away. Hong Heiyu's notoriety had spread far and wide. Everyone thought that Jiang Hailong would be able to resist him, but now it seemed that he had been defeated in one move. The impact was too great. In the interrogation room, everyone had left. Hong Heiyu brought Jiang Li and suddenly rushed out. They arrived outside the human base before slowly descending. "Mentor, this time you have disrupted Star Sky University's interrogation procedures." Jiang Li was a little worried. "Bullsh *T interrogation procedures," Hong Heiyu said disdainfully. "I have already reported my breakthrough to the higher-ups of humanity in the elite zone. The higher-ups have already approved it. In a few days, I will be promoted to Star Sky University's vice principal, one of the few core higher-ups. This is the position that Gue Junzi dreamed of. He schemed and defeated his competitors one by one so that he would have the highest chance of obtaining this position. But everything disappeared with the advancement of my realm." Vice principal? Jiang Li immediately knew that this position was very important. It was a position that held great power. Because the Star Sky University's principal did not care about anything and never appeared, he might have gone to the Star Sky to fight. Now, the ones in charge of the university were a few vice principals. Any of the vice principals had remarkable abilities. Hong Heiyu could not possibly be qualified. But he had advanced from the first tier of the embryonic breathing realm, spiritual breathing, to the second tier, divine breathing, instantly surpassing many competitors. This was what it meant to stand out in terms of strength. When strength was evenly matched, it depended on schemes. But when strength was far beyond strength, all schemes were useless. In the end, human society was still a society that respected strength. The level of strength determined the status. This kind of thinking had seeped into people's bones for thousands of years and would never change. It was the same in the vast universe. "I see." Jiang Li knew that Hong Heiyu's advancement was due to the Great Soul Emperor seal. However, he had only learned 4 seals of the Great Emperor. If he learned all the seals of the Great Emperor and told Hong Heiyu, what realm would he advance to? Mixed origin breath? Or even meditative state? "Teacher, what kind of magnum opus do you think the Great Soul Emperor seal is?" he immediately asked. "It is unfathomable and far surpasses the 10-directional hell path." Hong Heiyu exclaimed, "Once I learned it, I immediately advanced. It is obvious that this seal has seized the creation of heaven and earth and obtained laws from the depths of the universe. It even surpassed SS-class martial arts. Now that I have learned 4 seals and verified them with the Book of Changes, I have only started to understand some of the profoundness of water, fire, wind, and thunder. Just like that, the sacred fetus has already started to absorb the natural elements of water, fire, wind, and thunder. That is why I could defeat Jiang Hailong with one move. The great emperor's fetus." Jiang Li was shocked. "I received the impartation of this great emperor seal. It was said that the person who cultivated this seal would condense the great emperor's fetus and be invincible in the universe. However, condensing the sacred fetus is thousands of times more difficult. Could it be that teacher is also condensing the great emperor's fetus? No." Hong Heiyu gave it some thought. This cultivation technique has to be cultivated step by step from a low realm, merging it into the bones. Only then will it condense into the great emperor's fetus. I have already condensed the sacred fetus. I am just supporting it now. My sacred fetus is still the sacred fetus of the 10-directional hell path. Only you can successfully cultivate the great Emperor's fetus. Chapter 160. Hong Heiyu was actually going to be promoted to vice principal. Jiang Li was overjoyed. He knew that he had someone to protect him in school this time. At least the Jiang family wouldn't dare to do anything to him. From now on, his future would be smooth sailing. Now that this has happened, no one in school will find trouble with you. Cultivate well and quickly improve your strength. Starry Sky University is about to encounter a change. The experts of the Great Qian dynasty will come to attack. At that time, it will definitely be a battle of life and death. We have to be on guard. I hope that you can protect yourself before the great calamity comes. Hong Heiyu said a few more words and was about to turn around and leave. By the way, mentor, are you training Li Zhen and the others? What kind of training method are you using? Jiang Li was curious and quickly asked. Although their training is not as cruel as yours, it is definitely not easy. Hong Heiyu smiled meaningfully. His whole body drilled into the ground and disappeared. He was an energy body and had a close connection with the earth. He was as calm and unmoving as the earth. The energy of the 10-directional hell Tao and the earth began to merge. Jiang Li let out a long sigh. Looks like I have to quickly improve my strength. Although my vitality is 48, which far surpasses my peers, it is not enough. If I encounter a true expert, I will be unable to cope. However, I have to cultivate step by step. I can't be impatient. I have to keep my mind clean and pure. Only then can I improve rapidly. He leaped and glided into the depths of the forest. His speed was comparable to that of a bird. Because Jiang Li's vitality was too strong now. After being tempered by the metal qi, there was a metallic taste in his bones. With a slight bounce, his whole body leaped 20 to 30 meters into the air. Then, he began to gliding for thousands of meters at a time. His current running speed could reach 500 kilometers per hour, which was almost the speed of a small aircraft. Sometimes, if Jiang Li did not conserve his strength, he could glide 3 to 4 kilometers in one breath without landing. This was under the condition that the Emperor's star had 3 times the gravity. If he was on Earth, his speed would be even faster. With a vitality of 48, he was definitely a superhuman on Earth. Those ordinary people couldn't even catch his speed with the naked eye. They wouldn't even know who killed them in front of their eyes. Of course, a normal expert with a vitality of 48 wouldn't be as fast as Jiang Li. The main reason was that Jiang Li had grasped some of the mysteries of the great Emperor's wind seal. His control over the airflow was 10 times more exquisite than the average student. Just like that, he kept running on the Emperor's star. He didn't use a battleship or a mecha. He just trained his body. Once he was tired, he would hold the Grand Emperor relic in his mouth and run with his embryonic breath. As Jiang Li's spiritual cultivation became more and more powerful, he could already breathe while running. He could continuously absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth from the second dimension into his body and then release it through his body. During this process, the spiritual qi of heaven and earth formed a strong cycle in his body, constantly cleansing every inch of his skin, bones, muscles, organs, blood vessels, and blood cells. Jiang Li found that running was also a kind of cultivation. Running in the embryonic breathing realm, the spiritual qi of heaven and earth flowed in and out, making his body feel like it was being washed by a waterfall. After running like this for a full day and night, his vitality had unknowingly increased by 1 point. It had increased from 48 to 49, which was another huge leap. As he kept running like this, not only did his body not feel tired, but he was also getting more and more energetic, especially the flying sword in his pocket, which was constantly being washed by the spiritual qi of heaven and earth according to his body's rhythm. Jiang Li breathed while running and absorbed the spiritual qi of heaven and earth into his body. Then, during the intense exercise, the spiritual chi was transformed into energy and mixed with his vital chi, which had a great effect on the tempering of the flying sword. This also caused his body to become stronger and stronger, almost to the point where it felt like he was going to have a bright sword heart. The flying sword devoured his vital chi and gave him the metal spiritual chi, making his physique stronger and stronger. It was only then that Zhongli realized that he had unintentionally mastered a better cultivation method, which was running. Running intensely, with the Emperor's relic in his body. He breathed in his embryonic breathing during the exercise, and the spiritual chi was transformed into kinetic energy, which allowed his body to be in a state where he would never tire. Previously, with a speed of 500 kilometers per hour, he could only run for an hour before reaching his limit, and he had to rest. But now he actually ran for a full day and night. Most likely, only a strong practitioner with a vitality of 8 would have such an ability. After a full day and night, Zhongli ran more than 10,000 kilometers. Not only did his vitality not deplete, but it had also increased by 1 point. This kind of unbelievable thing could only happen with the help of the Emperor's relic. Next, he continued to run on the Emperor's star without any scruples. It was just pure running, allowing the spiritual chi of heaven and earth to enter his body, and then transforming it into kinetic energy to temper the flying sword. He didn't know fatigue, and his will was strong. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, after running for 10 days, he only rested for 3 to 4 hours every day, and the rest of the time was spent running, gliding, and controlling the airflow. He had completely forgotten everything, and returned to the carefree life of a savage. He didn't eat either, and completely relied on the spiritual chi of heaven and earth to replenish his energy. This way, he was cut off from the mortal world, and his body had no impurities at all. Jiang Li's blood also had a little bit of gold, which was the result of him fusing with the flying sword. Finally, on the night of the 10th day, his body trembled, and he stopped. Standing under the vast starry sky, he raised his head and let out a long roar. The stars shook and the roar tore through the night sky. His vitality had finally reached 5. A full 5 vitality, it was simply a miracle. Moreover, his body was illuminated by the starlight, and it was actually light gold, like a golden body. Powerful spiritual chi flowed within it, and it seemed that with a slight breath, there would be sword light that would cut through everything. Swoosh! Zhongli waved his hand, and the airflow produced an ear-piercing whistling sound. He used wind blades, and in the blink of an eye, a tree 30 steps away was cut in half. He clasped his hands together, and a huge, spiraling sphere was born. He pushed it out, and the huge, spiraling sphere spun with a buzzing sound. Wherever it went, all the grass and trees were smashed to smithereens. It was like a meat grinder, and the grass and trees were turned into powder. It took 3 breaths of time before they gradually disappeared. He leaped again, stepping on the airflow, and arrived on top of a 100-meter-tall tree. Looking ahead, he could only see turbulent waves in front of him, and the black water was deep like a boundless ocean. This was the Black Dragon Pond. Zhongli ran for 10 days and 10 nights before reaching his destination. He leaped again, and his whole body was like a big bird. Without a sound, he glided for 7,000 to 8,000 meters and landed on the water. Surprisingly, he didn't sink, and instead, he stood on the water with ease. The water was bone-chilling, but it was nothing to him. His vitality of 5 had already surpassed any martial arts master in the history of Earth. The Black Dragon Pond, under the starlight, undulated with waves. It was pitch black, mysterious, and vast, and contained a power that would make people wary. Just like that, he gradually sank to the bottom of the pond. The dragon-seeking grass is very effective. The dragon breath contained in it can deepen my bloodline, speed up the refinement of the flying sword, and neutralize the golden chi of the flying sword, making my flesh more lively, and my explosive power stronger. I still have potential that can be excavated. My mentor said that my vitality can be raised to 7. Jiang Li sank to the bottom of the pond, still holding the great emperor's relic in his mouth. This way, he could maintain his physical strength and abundant spiritual qi at all times. Plop, plop, plop. He sank to the bottom of the water for a few hundred meters, and felt the pressure around him increasing. Under such pressure, the spiritual qi of heaven and earth began to closely integrate with his flesh and blood, causing the insides of his body to have a crystallized taste, and he could move freely in the water. Poochie! Suddenly, the 5 flying swords in his pocket flew out automatically, and actually pierced into the major acupoints of his body. However, there was no bleeding, and the swords were tightly integrated with his skin and flesh, becoming a part of his body. The flying swords became smaller and smaller, as though they were gradually becoming embroidery needles. However, the energy of the flying swords became stronger and stronger. After piercing into the 5 major acupoints of Jiang Li, they began to circulate with the spiritual qi of his flesh and blood, forming a whole. Vaguely, one could see that the sparkling and translucent flying swords had traces of blood circulating continuously, as though they were condensing into meridians and blood vessels. Sometimes, the blood qi would rise, and one could vaguely see Jiang Li's figure. There was no light at the bottom of the pond, and it was pitch black. However, Jiang Li didn't need light. He was using his spirit to see the world, and it was much more accurate and clear than his eyes. With a slight sweep, he could see the bottom of the pond within a radius of tens of kilometers clearly, and even a needle could be found. There were many fish at the bottom of the pond, and there were even some ferocious monsters. However, Jiang Li didn't start a massacre. He was afraid that he would cause a commotion and attract the attack of the black giant snake in the Black Dragon Swamp. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to obtain any dragon-seeking grass. Before any underwater monsters could get close to him, they would be hypnotized. Moreover, his body was emitting a peaceful aura that could pacify any violent monsters. Jiang Li dove and swam at the bottom of the pond, constantly scanning with his thoughts. He discovered that there were indeed many types of water monsters in the depths of the Black Dragon Swamp, and there was no lack of tyrannical monsters. There seems to be a fragrance? A spiritual herb has appeared? As Jiang Li's thoughts gradually swept through the area, he could feel various types of energies, such as fragrances and spiritual energy. Suddenly, he discovered a medicinal aura in the distance. He immediately swam over and discovered that there was a 5-colored flower growing on a reef in the depths of the water. 5-colored exquisite flower? Good stuff, it's a medicinal herb for alchemy. Jiang Li immediately recalled. In the cultivation world in his dream, this 5-colored exquisite flower grew in the depths of the water. Although it wasn't as good as the dragon-seeking grass, it was also born from the accumulation of spiritual qi from heaven and earth. Within it, there were 5 types of energy that intertwined with each other. After eating it, it would nourish the 5 organs and strengthen the bloodline. It was also a rare spiritual herb. Beep, beep, beep. He turned on the optical computer, and information about the 5-colored exquisite flower immediately appeared. 5-colored exquisite flower, a rare and exotic herb that contains 5 types of energy. Price to be determined, to be auctioned. It can extract 5 types of energy from it and turn them into 5 types of energy. When consumed, there would be a type of 5 types of energy, and the breathing of the organs would be strengthened. This was the information from Starry Sky University. This medicinal herb didn't have a fixed price. Because it was rare, it wouldn't be sold in the market. Therefore, every time one appeared, it would be auctioned. Jiang Li scanned with his thoughts and discovered that there weren't any monsters around the flower. He lightly landed on the reef and uprooted the flower. The moment the flower was uprooted, the entire reef suddenly trembled violently. What's going on? Jiang Li's reaction was extremely fast, and he immediately hid far away. He discovered that the entire reef had collapsed and there was a pitch-black cave inside. Chapter 161. What a strong spiritual energy! The rocks at the bottom of the lake collapsed and a cave appeared. A spray of water rushed out, which seemed to be the mouth of the spring. But Jiang Li could clearly feel that the spray of water contained a special kind of spiritual energy. His face was filled with surprise. His mind explored the depths of the spring and found that there was a stone in the depths. This stone was crystal clear, and the sound of waves rumbled inside, as if it was wrapped in an ocean. It's a water attribute spiritual stone. Jiang Li was overjoyed and sighed. I'm so lucky to get a water attribute spiritual stone. This is priceless. If I take it to the Starry Sky University, it will definitely be worth a lot. If I meet a buyer in a hurry, it will be the price of half a starfish battleship. However, this cave was extremely deep, and it was impossible to take out the water attribute spiritual stone. But he had a way. Flying sword, go! Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 5 flying swords inserted in the acupuncture points of his body closed up, like a small claw, and flew into the depths of the cave, grabbing the water attribute spiritual stone. Good stuff, good stuff. I knew that this 5-colored exquisite flower must be nourished by a water attribute spiritual stone. Otherwise, it would not be able to grow. This expedition is really rewarding, but I can't carry it around with me, lest I lose it. It's better to eat it. He couldn't take these good things out to auction. He ate it first. Money was nothing, increasing his vitality was the most important thing. Jiang Li felt that as soon as the 5-colored exquisite flower entered his stomach, 5 kinds of subtle energy dispersed into his internal organs. After eating the 5-colored exquisite flower, his internal organs began to squirm and were nourished by the energy. Suddenly, they began to spurt out 5 kinds of qi, making him feel intoxicated. He really had a feeling of 5 qi unification. The so-called 3 flowers at the crown 5 qi unification was a phenomenon for cultivators. Vitality didn't improve? But the metal attribute spiritual energy in my blood has been neutralized, greatly increasing my flexibility. These 5 flying swords also seem to be under my control. Jiang Li watched as the 5 flying swords once again pierced into his body's acupoints, absorbing the 5 qis. Following this, the flying swords began to have a flesh and blood texture. They could even bend and jump, resembling small metallic snakes. This way, when the 5 flying swords combined, they could truly form a claw, extremely similar to a human palm. The 5-colored exquisite flower had a miraculous effect on further fusing the flying sword with the body. I'll eat the water element spirit stone as well. My great emperor's watermark will be able to survive in the depths of the black dragon swamp. He picked up the water element spirit stone and swallowed it as well. Suddenly, a dense water attribute spiritual qi spread through his body, making his cells squirm. The great emperor's seal started to work and soon, the water attribute spiritual qi was completely refined. The flying sword became even more agile, and it had a metallic feel to it. Jiang Li started cultivating the great emperor's watermark in the depths of the black dragon swamp. The water flowed back and forth, massaging his meridians. The water element spirit qi combined with the black dragon swamp and vibrated at a special frequency, activating the potential of the cells in Jiang Li's body and strengthening his body. After a long time, he opened his eyes and felt the water flowing around him. It was very familiar, like the air. There was still no increase in his vitality, but he was much more agile in the water, especially when his thoughts radiated out. He could see very far away. Before, he could only sense 50 miles, but now he could sense 80 miles. I'm suppressing the energy of the water element spirit stone and the 5-colored exquisite flower. Instead of increasing my vitality, I'm increasing my life potential. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to refine the flying sword in the future. Jiang Li was very perceptive. These two great treasures could increase his vitality to 52 or even 55. But he suppressed the energy and turned it into life potential through endocrine. What was life potential? It was lifespan. For example, a person could explode his potential in a short period of time, causing his vitality to explode. But after a few days, he would wither, age, and die. Especially for people who refined flying swords. The flying swords were very destructive, and the metal element Qi could strengthen the body. But there were many drawbacks because the flying swords had to absorb blood and human potential every day. In that foreign land in the cultivation world, many people who practiced flying swords didn't live long. After tens of years of refinement, they would eventually be sucked dry by the flying swords. Jiang Li wanted to refine 49 flying swords in the future. The life potential he needed was astronomical. If a normal person, even someone like Meng Xingyun, went to refine so many flying swords, he wouldn't be able to live more than a year. Therefore, Jiang Li wanted to collect the dragon-seeking grass and use the dragon energy inside to increase his lifespan. The effect of the dragon-seeking grass was many times better than the life fruit. His whole body was like a fish swimming in the depths of the black dragon pond. He didn't make any sound. Even his aura merged with the water and didn't leak out at all. It was like an undercurrent at the bottom of the pond. The black dragon pond was too big. He didn't know where the dragon-seeking grass was. But Jiang Li's thoughts were very powerful. With a slight sweep, he could see the surroundings of 80 miles clearly. Beep, beep, beep. He turned on his optical computer and searched for information on the Black Dragon Pond's dragon-seeking grass. Over the years, many experts had come to search for it and left behind a lot of information. Some teams even posted the information on the school's intranet to exchange for money. Jiang Li spent tens of thousands of celestial dollars to buy a post from the powerful Immortal Punisher team. He opened it and saw that it was about them coming to the Black Dragon Pond to collect the dragon-seeking grass. The post said that they had driven their battleship to the Black Dragon Swamp and then activated a powerful radar search. But suddenly, a black python emerged from the depths of the Black Dragon Swamp. It was at least 100 meters long, and with a ferocious spurt, a huge water ball shot up to 10,000 meters in the sky, causing damage to their battleship. In the end, the Immortal Punisher team returned without any results and almost died here. From the image, Jiang Li saw a giant python shoot into the sky. It opened its mouth and shot a 1-kilometer-wide water ball. It spiraled at high speed and contained a powerful energy. In an instant, it bombarded the battleship. The battleship shook violently and quickly retreated out of the Black Dragon Pond. That giant python fell back into the water and disappeared without a trace. After that, he continued to watch and found that the people from the Immortal Punisher team were unwilling to give up. They didn't start the battleship again but dove into the water silently. It was much safer now and they successfully collected the dragon-seeking grass. However, in the process of collecting, they encountered a few giant snakes that were tens of meters long and almost died. Luckily, their team leader was an extremely powerful expert. He was a high-level hypnotist and had a vitality of 9. Only after hypnotizing the snakes did they successfully escape. However, after spending so much effort, they only managed to collect one dragon-seeking grass. It was not worth it. F***CK, why aren't the details written on it? Jiang Li saw that the post only described the process. There were no specific coordinates, data, or latitude and longitude. He couldn't help but curse. Such a post costs tens of thousands of celestial dollars? Isn't this a scam? Jiang Li closed the post and cursed at these teams for being unkind. He planned to continue searching on his own. Following the image on the post, Jiang Li opened the map and began to explore the depths of the Black Dragon Marsh. After searching for about 3 days, he stayed at the bottom of the water and didn't come out. This was something that no expert could do, unless they were like Hong Heiyu, an expert who had formed a sacred fetus. Under the powerful water pressure, his cultivation progress was also very fast. In these 3 days, he found many natural treasures in the Black Dragon Marsh. However, he ate them and converted them into life potential, not increasing his vitality. As long as one day, he could cultivate all 49 flying swords to become one with the swords would be him, and he would be the swords. When the flying swords were refined into something similar to flesh, he would be a sword. He could even fly with his physical body, cut through rocks, tear apart mechas, and destroy battleships. Of course, this was something that would happen in the future. Hong Black Prison also wanted to obtain that spirit sword and become one with his own sword. His destructive power would suddenly increase by 10 times, and the form of his life would also change, evolving one step closer to God. Unfortunately, that spirit sword had been taken away by Chen Tianshu. Jiang Li continued to search. Training underwater seemed to be more suitable than running on land. He enjoyed the feeling of swimming very much. It was free and unrestrained. Others would only feel fear underwater, but after cultivating the great Emperor's watermark, he only felt a sense of familiarity underwater, as if he had returned to his home. The smell of blood? It seems to be some kind of large beast hunting for food? Suddenly, there was a faint smell of blood in the water. He immediately scanned the surroundings with his thoughts. Sure enough, he found that in a pitch-black nest 60 kilometers away, a 50-meter-long behemoth was biting and devouring an emperor elephant. Black Boa. Jiang Li saw that it was the unique overlord of the Black Dragon Marsh, the Black Boa. It was born with a special ability to control water. Just like the fire god bird, it had water god powers. The fire god bird could spit fire, while the black boa could spit water balls. It even had all kinds of special protective abilities. They could even go to the shore to hunt for food. This emperor elephant was obviously drinking water on the shore and was bitten by the giant snake on the shore, then dragged into the water to enjoy a feast. Jiang Li was even more careful because there were many of these snakes in the Black Dragon Marsh. If he disturbed the powerful ones, he would be dead. According to the information, the 100-meter-long snakes had intelligence and could even cultivate. It was said that there was an underwater cave of a cultivator in the depths of the Black Dragon Marsh, and these black snakes were his animals. Of course, this was a legend recorded by Star University, and no one could prove it. Dragon seeking grass. Jiang Li meditated with the great emperor's watermark, and his mind was completely connected with the water. Immediately, he could see the bottom of the marsh clearly. In the nest of the black boa, there were 3 1-meter-tall plants. The plants looked like jade carvings with emerald green scales. They swayed with the flow of the water, emitting a strong and pure wild energy. That was the dragon breath, a special kind of energy. It was wild, vast, powerful, and pure. 3 dragon seeking grass, that's good stuff. An idea came to Jiang Li's mind, and he hid under the water without being discovered. If it was someone else or an animal, they would be discovered by the black boa even if they were 100 miles away. Unfortunately, Jiang Li had cultivated the great emperor's watermark, and his body was almost perfectly connected with the water. Plus, he had just absorbed a water elemental spirit stone, which improved the great emperor's watermark, so he could sneak up. Chapter 162. Each dragon-seeking grass was a treasure that couldn't be bought outside. It could only be bought at a high price in an auction, and it wasn't even available in low-grade auctions. Jiang Li was proficient in the cultivation world's sword-making technique, and he knew how precious the dragon-seeking grass was. The dragon breath integrated into one's life potential could speed up the process of sword practice. Especially after taking the dragon-seeking grass, there would be a dragon aura in one's mind power, and the nature of one's brain cells would change drastically. Just as Jiang Li was getting closer, he suddenly felt a vast consciousness sweeping in all directions. It turned out that the black snake had swallowed the imperial elephant, and its consciousness swept in all directions to see if there were any enemies hiding nearby. Everything would be discovered by his consciousness, and nothing could get close to it. With a sweep of his consciousness, it actually covered a distance of 100 miles. Luckily, Jiang Li's aura had completely merged with the water, and the great emperor's watermark covered all his traces. Otherwise, he would have been exposed. Even so, he was covered in cold sweat. This black snake's mind power is so strong? If it was someone else, they would have been discovered instantly, and it would be hard for them to escape. Even people with vitality of 7 or 9 couldn't fight against a group of black giant pythons in the water. The black snake swept for a while, and when it found there was no danger, it curled up into a ball and began to sleep. After devouring a huge emperor elephant, it also felt very full. It felt sleepy and entered the deepest level of sleep. Good chance, Jiang Li started to approach the black snake while it was sleeping. He meditated on the great emperor's watermark, and the dense water intent seeped into the black snake's mind, making it sleep even more deeply. Great, I'm about to become one with the water. He was happy. The great emperor's watermark was almost invincible in the water, especially after absorbing the water element spirit stones. His body could even change into the color of water like a chameleon, and he wouldn't be discovered. Jiang Li stealthily approached the black serpent's lair. There were no other creatures here, only a black python that was as large as a mountain. Its scales were like iron and its aura was blazing. Jiang Li even suspected that a flying sword made of ordinary materials might not be able to cut through it. Of course, his flying sword was extraordinary and could definitely deal damage to this black snake. However, he must not alarm it, because there were more black snakes in the depths of the Black Dragon Swamp. If he killed one, another group would come out. If the Black Snake King appeared, he would be dead for sure. Therefore, Jiang Li could only use hypnosis. Fortunately, the right time, the right place, and the right people were on his side. In the water, the black python was invincible, but Jiang Li was even more invincible. As he approached the mountain-like black python, Jiang Li's only target was the dragon-seeking grass. He walked to the front of the jade-like grass and carefully observed it. After confirming that the black python would not wake up anytime soon, he carefully used his flying sword to dodge it. Voila! The dragon-seeking grass was uprooted. Dense spirit chi began to spread. Jiang Li hurriedly hugged it and used the great emperor's water seal to confine the spirit chi. Then, the flying sword flashed again, and the dragon-seeking grass turned into juice in the water, which was absorbed into his body. After 3 dragon-seeking grass were absorbed into his body, Jiang Li did not even have time to digest them before he dashed out. He knew that he could not be greedy. 3 dragon-seeking grass was enough. This was because the grass was connected to the spirit chi at the bottom of the water. Losing one would cause spirit chi fluctuations, and if a large group of black snakes were alarmed, he would die a horrible death. He was very fast and soon reached the surface of the water. With a light tap, he used the airflow to glide into the distance like a huge bird. In less than an hour, he reached the shore and left. After he left, the entire lake suddenly surged with wind and clouds. A dragon roared and the weather changed. There was even thunder in the sky, as if an extremely powerful expert had caused a change in the weather. Jiang Li hid quietly, not daring to move. In a short while, he saw many huge black snakes emerging from the center of the lake, hissing at each other. One of the black snakes was more than 100 meters long, and it was swallowing clouds and spitting out fog like a king. A black gas appeared above the head of the Black Snake King, and the black gas condensed into a man in a black robe. This man was more than 2 meters tall, and his long robe fluttered in the wind. He was like an evil king, giving off an extremely cold aura. Embryonic breathing realm. Jiang Li was shocked. This Black Snake King is actually in the embryonic breathing realm, and it has even condensed its own sacred fetus. Logically, animals only have abilities, and there should be very few who know how to practice, right? Could this really be an ancient cave abode? That was close. I am not a match for a big demon in the embryonic breathing realm. No wonder the dragon-seeking grass is so precious. We actually lost 3 dragons-seeking grass. Who did it? Who dares to come to my black dragon pond to steal the dragon-seeking grass? You are looking for death, do you know that? The man in the black robe emitted a strong divine thought, and it spread out in all directions. Jiangli lay low and didn't dare to move. Even if he was on the shore, it wasn't safe. He could only wait for this storm to pass. Splash, splash, endless heavy rain fell from the sky. Dark clouds covered the sky, and heavy rain poured down. A good chance. Jiangli took advantage of the heavy rain and unleashed the great emperor's seal to leave this place quickly. Although there was a lot of wealth in the Black Dragon Pond, he didn't want to stay any longer. After witnessing the prowess of the Black Snake King, he knew that he wouldn't be able to get the dragon-seeking grass anymore. Moving stealthily and far away, Jiangli found a very secluded cave. He immediately started to circulate the blood in his body, and unleashed the great emperor's fire seal to refine the medicinal power of the dragon-seeking grass. In an instant, a wave of heat flowed through his body, sweeping in all directions. Suddenly, a wave of energy emanated from his body, and the outer shell of his body was covered with densely packed scales. It was actually dragon scales. Once these scales were formed, they would be impervious to swords, spears, water, and fire. Indeed, the human's research on the dragon-seeking grass is similar to the research in the cultivation world. The cultivation world said that the dragon-seeking grass contains dragon breath, but the human's research says that it contains a special energy. Good, good, good. I will refine these 5 flying swords completely and turn them into the scale patterns on my body. Roar. Jiangli let out a loud roar and blood seeped out. The 5 flying swords flew out and stabbed into his body. The first flying sword stabbed into the Baihui acupoint on the top of his head. The second was actually stabbed into his heart, the third was stabbed into his back, and the remaining 2 were stabbed into his palms. The blood that contained the special energy of the dragon breath constantly seeped into the flying swords, and the 5 flying swords gradually started to retract their brilliance, turning plain and unadorned. Furthermore, they twisted more and more spiritually, as though they were about to turn into small dragons. After an unknown period of time, the 5 flying swords moved and actually started to melt. They slowly seeped into Jiang Li's flesh, and then turned into 5 sword scars that fused with his skin. This was a sign that they were beginning to fuse with his flesh. However, they had yet to completely fuse with his body. In order to do so, Jiang Li needed more dragon-seeking grass. What a pity! Jiang Li stood up and looked at his palms. He realized that there were 2 scars that resembled spirit snake. He knew that these were the traces of the flying swords residing in his flesh, but he was still far from truly becoming one with the sword. If he could truly become one with the sword, it would be like a flying sword leaping into the air. His body structure would be metal, and he would be able to tear through the air. Legend had it that when one became a sword immortal, their body could even become an energy body that could transform into a sword beam that could pierce through a pinhole. The flying sword refinement art is indeed impressive. Even if I don't become one with the sword and reside in my flesh, my body can still make use of the flying sword's energy. It's equivalent to having 5 additional power furnaces. Jiang Li suddenly leaped up. Swoosh! His body actually tore through the air and rose to a height of 100 meters. Then, he made a turn at will and suddenly landed. He spun towards the tree, and the tree's leaves fell one after another. Every flying sword was equivalent to an energy storage furnace, or even a nuclear reactor. Think about it. Even Meng Xingyun's ordinary flying sword wasn't something that he could refine himself. It required a long period of painstaking effort mixed with spirit stones. Once he refined it, it would take tens or even hundreds of years before he finally succeeded. And this was just the most ordinary one. From a sword to a flying sword, it was equivalent to a carp transforming into a dragon. This step definitely couldn't be measured with money. Therefore, a flying sword was more expensive than a battleship. Jiang Li's 5 flying swords were now residing in his flesh. He activated the flying swords slightly, and even his body could fly. It was completely different from controlling the air currents in the past, and the speed was much faster. If he had more dragon-seeking grass, he could attempt becoming one with the sword. By then, even with a vitality of 5, he could defeat an expert with vitality of 7, or even 8. Dragon-seeking grass, oh dragon-seeking grass. I'll come back to pick it sooner or later. Let's go back first. The results of this cultivation aren't too bad. Jiang Li didn't want to be entangled here for too long. It was better to be careful and go back first. However, he still didn't earn a single cent. The 5-colored exquisite flower, the water attribute spirit stone, and the dragon-seeking grass were all priceless treasures, but he ate them all. He left the black dragon pond and opened his photon computer to search for resources to make money. Dahe needed money, so he had to earn more to ensure the operation of its laboratory. Jiang Li trained in the wilderness, completely unaware that while he was searching for resources, some people were talking about him and Hong Heiyu. The real base of Star Sky University was simply a huge city, incomparably prosperous. Within a radius of thousands of miles, there were skyscrapers and modern facilities. Suspended energy tracks were set up in the air. High up in the sky, there was a huge energy shield that covered the entire base, penetrating deep into the ground. Such a huge energy shield was enough to defend against all kinds of natural disasters and earthquakes. It could also defend against the invasion of experts. Even an expert like Chen Tianshu might not be able to take advantage of such a huge energy reactor in a human base. The usage of this energy was similar to the array formations in the cultivation world. In a huge room, transparent on all sides, one could see into the distance. A person in a well-ironed military uniform was drinking tea. This person was actually Gui Junzi. Jiang Hailong and Song Shuren were also drinking tea with him. Apart from them, Meng Xingyun was standing to the side. The fragrance of the tea drifted in the air, intoxicating people's hearts. The room was filled with this aroma, almost enough to make people feel like they were walking on clouds. Meng Xingyun didn't drink the tea, but smelling the fragrance, he felt the blood flow in his body begin to circulate. The flying sword in his hand began to stir, letting out a long cry. Hong Heiyu was appointed vice principal by the higher-ups. Your plans have all failed. Gui Junzi, you've been plotting for 20 years, how do you feel? Jiang Hailong's tone was sarcastic. At the mention of Hong Heiyu, his expression revealed a venomous hatred. Gui Junzi didn't answer Jiang Hailong. Instead, he gave his disciple pointers. He said to Meng Xingyun in a gentle tone, Xingyun, this is 9 immortal tea. Every tea leaf can only be obtained through auction. Come and have a sip, it'll be beneficial for refining your flying sword. What you need now is to spend large amounts of spirit stones and fresh blood to refine this flying sword to 10 times its original size. Condense the energy, then gradually attach it to your flesh and blood, and finally become one with the sword. This step, I estimate, will take you at least 20 years. Chapter 163. Gui Junzi, did you hear that? Now that Hong Heiyu is the vice principal, you're the one who's going to suffer. Jiang Hailong was annoyed that he was ignored. What's the rush? Gui Junzi said unhurriedly. It's true that I didn't expect Hong Xuanyu to suddenly increase his realm and strength, but it's not a good thing to promote him to vice-chancellor this time. Starry Sky University is facing a great calamity, can't you see it? A calamity? Song Shuren seemed to wake up from a dream. Don't tell me the natives of Emperor Star really dare to gather experts to fight us? Do they have the guts? The natives of Emperor Star aren't that fierce, but what if they have experts from that mysterious world? That mysterious world has been fighting us humans for decades, and there's no clear victor. There are many experts among them. Gue Junzi sipped his tea unhurriedly and said, "If he becomes the vice headmaster, it means that he has to take the lead. At that time, when he dies, hey. But if he attacks you now, you won't be able to defend yourself. He's really strong. The 10-directional Hell Dao has already cultivated the hell-suppressing divine pillar." Jiang Hailong seemed to be recalling how he was defeated by Hong Heiyu in one move. He still felt humiliated and unwilling. And that disciple of his, he's extremely strong. Oh? That disciple of his is called Jiang Li, and he was defeated by me. Meng Xingyun's tone was very indifferent. Lost to you? Jiang Hailong snorted. Young people don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He's much stronger than you. Jiang Hailong, even if you want to provoke my disciple, you shouldn't provoke him like this. My disciple completely defeated him in the top 10 of the entrance exam. Gue Junzi snorted. Watch the video yourself. Jiang Hailong turned on his optical computer. Your disciple's flying sword is like scrap metal in front of his. Really? I don't believe it. Meng Xingyun looked arrogant and disdainful. The video appeared, and it showed Jiang Li controlling the flying swords to cut through the trajectory of the sonic mecha. The 5 swords flashed slightly, and the mecha was broken like tofu. Then, the flying swords quickly returned to Jiang Li's body. Gue Junzi and Meng Hangyun were both great experts. They were both startled and angered by what they saw. This flying sword is supreme grade. When it was cultivated to the length of a finger, spiritual energy would condense, and it could fuse with one's flesh and blood at any time. This kind of flying sword required at least a meditative tranquil realm expert to undergo hundreds of years of training before it could take form. Almost all of them have the possibility of transforming into spirit swords. Gue Junzi exhaled a long breath in disbelief. 5 flying swords. Meng Xingyun gripped the flying sword in his hand, wishing he could just throw it away and break it. He could see that the quality of these 5 flying swords far surpassed his flying swords. With just a slight collision, his flying swords would be smashed into pieces. Each of these flying swords is priceless. How did this kid get 5 of them? Gue Junzi couldn't help but be moved. If we let him fuse the flying swords into his body and become one with them, he'll definitely be a marvel. His life form will change, and his cultivation will increase greatly. We can't let this kid grow. Can't let him grow? That sounds nice. With Hong Heiyu protecting him, who can do anything? Song Shuren was also unwilling. There will always be a chance. Gue Junzi looked at Meng Xingyun. What? Xingyun, are you not confident? He's not my opponent. Even if he has a flying sword, he's still not my opponent. Meng Xingyun closed his eyes and sighed. I have absolute confidence in his victory. Good. What I want is your invincible aura, as if you're the only one who can do it. Gue Junzi sighed in admiration. Having this Jiang Li's pressure is also a good thing for you. Maybe you can rely on his pressure to break through to the realm of eternal stability. When the time comes, he'll have to obediently surrender with a sweep of his mind, and then seize his flying sword. No matter how powerful the flying sword is, it still needs his mind to be able to control it. If his mind isn't as good as yours, everything is just an illusion. Chongding, I'll be able to break through very soon. Meng Xingyun nodded and turned to leave. Gue Junzi, this student of yours is a bit out of control. Song Shuren looked at Meng Xingyun's back meaningfully. It's not that he's out of control, but that he's comprehended something and wants to immediately go into closed-door cultivation. When he comes out, he'll be Chongding. This student of mine is a genius among geniuses. You'll never be able to imagine how much of a genius he is. Gue Junzi's expression was calm and extremely confident. Even if that Jiang Li was 10 times more powerful, he still wouldn't be his opponent. Xingyun's aptitude is equivalent to the Jiang clan's Jiang Nailan. The Jiang clan's Jiang Nailan? Jiang Hailong's eyes flashed with disdain. Jiang Nailan was the Jiang clan's invincible genius, a great figure that attracted the attention of the entire world. His status was transcendent, and he was one of the few great experts on Earth. Although the current Meng Xingyun was a little genius, compared to him, one was a divine dragon, the other an ant. However, he was too lazy to refute Gui Junzi. Then I'll wait and see. Jiang Hailong stood up and was also about to leave. Seeing that the matter of relying on Gui Junzi to deal with Hong Heiyu was already unreliable, he didn't say anything more. Recently, Hong Heiyu's luck has been flourishing. I hope you won't get involved. When the great calamity comes, it will be the end of his road. At that time, we'll capture him in one fell swoop and kill him, seizing his sacred embryo. Gui Junzi watched Jiang Hailong leave. His voice was already so soft that only he could hear it. Hong Heiyu's advancement is a good thing. I also cultivate a flying sword, but it can't become a spirit sword. If I can refine Hong Heiyu's sacred embryo into it, I'll be able to achieve great success. He already had a plan in his heart. Thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind in the blink of an eye. Pucci. A ferocious big snake's head was cut open by Jiang Li, and a thumb-sized snake pearl was dug out from the depths of its head. It was sparkling and resplendent, emitting a milky white radiance. This place was still a primitive forest. He was killing wild beasts to obtain wealth. The big snake he just killed was 20 meters long, as thick as a person's waist. It was called Emperor Mantis. This kind of big snake could spit poisonous gas and burrow into the ground. After living for 100 years, a pearl would condense in its head. This pearl was a kind of energy body that could detoxify, beautify, activate cells, and be made into various medicines. It was very valuable. Emperor Mantis snake pearl is a raw material for making all kinds of rare medicines. It's very expensive. Starry Sky University's purchasing price is $2 million. Jiang Li opened the photon computer to inquire about the value of this item. He carefully put away the snake pearl and continued to move forward. He didn't dare to put it into the space of the great emperor relic, otherwise it would be cut by the flying sword. Since he couldn't use this space, there were many natural treasures that he couldn't collect. He could only choose to collect some of the more valuable things. There was a deep cave on the ground. It was the nest of the Emperor Mantis. It was at least 1,000 meters underground. Logically speaking, there should be some valuable ores in the nest because it liked to eat ores to survive. Unfortunately, Jiang Li couldn't bring it with him. Whoosh! His body leaped up and immediately broke through the air. He didn't control the airflow, but rather, he broke through the air like a battleship mecha. He was using the flying sword to move his body, giving off a feeling of flying on a sword. After so much effort, I only earned 2 million. I might as well hypnotize it myself. Looking at the pitiful snake pearl in his pouch, he realized that earning money wasn't an easy thing to do. Let me check again to see if there's anything that's convenient to carry but worth more than 100 million. Jiang Li searched for information, and instantly, more information appeared. Among them, there was the dragon-seeking grass and some attribute spirit stones. However, he eliminated them one by one. If he continued to search for the dragon-seeking grass, he would be courting death. Finally, he locked on to one. Snow Soul Relic. It's a kind of beast that lives in a world of ice and snow called the Snow Devil. It specializes in devouring the souls of living beings and condensing them into a type of pearl. It can greatly enhance one's mental energy, increase the capacity of one's brain cells, and transform the brain. The value of the Snow Soul Relic is determined by its size. Each of them is worth 1 billion after auction, and some are even worth several billion. However, capturing the Snow Devil is very dangerous, and one must be extremely cautious. The Snow Devil comes and goes without a trace. It's an energy body, so it's not afraid of attacks. Furthermore, it can cast any kind of mental illusion. If one's cultivation is not stable, it's very easy for the soul to be sucked away by it and become brain-dead. A lot of information appeared. Sucking souls? What's that? With the current human science, there's no soul grafting technology, and there's no way to separate the soul from the body. However, the soul is a special kind of energy. Everyone knows that. In the cultivation world, extremely strong cultivators can collect the souls of people and refine them into various magical treasures. Now, there's actually a devil on the Emperor Star that can suck the souls of living beings? And it's an energy body? This is simply unimaginable. The world is boundless, and there are all kinds of strange things. Jiang Li searched for information on the Snow Devil again and realized that the information was actually encrypted, and he needed money to purchase it. He didn't know which team had posted the thread, but this time, it actually cost 500,000 to view and download the thread. Even after ransacking Jiang Li's bank account clean, he still didn't have that much money. He couldn't help but curse out loud. 500,000 to download a thread? Why don't we just rob a bank? We might as well rob a bank. He couldn't find any information, and he didn't even know where the Snow Devil had appeared. The Emperor's Star was boundless, and trying to find it was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Forget it, I'll go back first. I'll sell the Royal Sea Snake Pearl first, then I can download the thread. Jiang Li rushed back quickly, and only returned to the base of the Starry Sky University 3 days later. He immediately sold the pearl, received 2 million, and began to search for information. In the end, he discovered that the Snow Devil had appeared on the Emperor's Star, in a place called the Snow Soul Wilderness. It was on the other side of the planet, and it was impossible for him to go there by himself. He would need a large battleship, and it would take him tens of days to get there. Moreover, the temperature of the snowy plains was -100 degrees Celsius, and it was very frightening. The wind was as strong as a mountain. The wind there could really sweep up a huge mountain. In front of this kind of wind, the battleship was almost like a paper airplane. Only battleships at the level of Hong Heiyu could go deep into the wilderness. Forget it, no wonder the price is so high. This is something that only people in the embryonic breathing realm can do. It's even more dangerous than gathering the dragon seeking grass. Jiang Li shook his head. Go and contact Luohan and Serene. I lost contact with them after they returned to the human base. I was also captured by the teacher to be beheaded and cut in half at the waist. I don't have time to think about other things. Jiang Li turned on the optical computer and began to contact them. After sending an email, he immediately got a response. It was Luohan, and her tone seemed to be complaining. Jiang Li, after you came back from the rescue, you reported that you were safe and then disappeared. I couldn't contact you no matter what. I was worried to death. What have you been doing recently? Also, congratulations on your teacher's promotion to the vice principal. Don't mention it. I was captured by the teacher for training, and it was a living hell. It's really unbearable. Jiang Li quickly replied. How are you guys? How's the training? Our team and Serene's team have contacted the Hidden Dragon team, and we've completed many missions. My vitality has recently reached 2.5. What about you? Luohan replied. Chapter 164. Hee, I've made some progress in my cultivation recently. Jiang Li replied, gathering the spirit liquid in his body and hiding it in the depths of his dantian. His vitality dropped from 5 to 3. Because a vitality of 5 is too shocking, a tall tree attracts the wind, some people might be jealous. He didn't want to be too ostentatious, concentrating on his cultivation was the most important. You only know how to cultivate all day long. I heard that your teacher, Hong Heiyu, is the most abnormal teacher in the entire Star Sky University. He often drives students crazy. Luohan's email was very relaxed, But since you took the initiative to send me a message, then let's put an end to your cultivation for now. Come over here and have some fun. Join a fellowship party. Fellowship party? Jiang Li quickly asked. What fellowship party? Have you gone crazy from cultivating? Stupid, of course it's a school fellowship party, a lot of activities organized by students. Any university has this type of fellowship party. Luohan felt that Jiang Li was completely in a primitive state, trying to pull him back to the normal world. Right, this is a university. I'm attending a university. Jiang Li suddenly realized, returning from the cultivation environment to the real world. Although Star Sky University is special, it is still a university. All kinds of students organize activities, it's normal to get to know each other, it's a form of social interaction. There's a fellowship party tonight, are you coming? You can meet a lot of students, some of them are absolute experts. Senior students with vitality over 10 will attend this fellowship party. If we make a friend, it'll be very beneficial for our future development. Don't worry, this time I'm not here to drag you to fight, hehe. Luohan's tone was playful. Time 8 p.m. Location Senior Student Base, Building 5789 Exhibition Hall. I'll be waiting for you. Okay, I'll definitely come. I want to see if there are any hidden dragons and crouching tigers in Star Sky University. Jiang Li and Luohan agreed. Seeing that it was getting late, he turned off the optical computer, changed into his school uniform, and set off. He didn't use a mecha nor a battleship, he flew with his body. With the 5 flying swords embedded in his flesh, his flying speed reached more than 200 meters per second. Although the kinetic energy of the flying sword could raise him to the speed of sound, or even twice the speed of sound, that speed was too fast for his body to bear, and he would become a bloody mess in the air. Normally, only when one's vitality reached 7 could one run at the speed of sound. Every 0.1 increase in vitality would result in a completely different realm. Therefore, there was a difference of 20 levels between Jiang Li and 7 in vitality. The difference was like heaven and earth. However, a speed of 200 meters per second was enough for him to show disdain for everyone else. 2 hours later, Jiang Li stopped in front of a large-scale modern city. This was the senior student base of Starry Sky University. It was much more magnificent and luxurious than the freshman base. Some freshmen could blend into the senior student squads and move to live here. The living conditions were also very advanced. Such powerful energy. Jiang Li observed carefully and discovered that there was an incomparably huge energy barrier constantly operating, enveloping all of the human bases. When he walked to the door, he was stopped by a wave of energy. He took out the optical computer chip and swiped it. A row of numbers appeared on the energy. Jiang Li, freshman, age. His data was completely displayed by the energy. The energy seemed to have intelligence, and it opened a door for him to enter. When he walked into the energy barrier, the energy completely closed up, leaving no gap. The defense of this energy was extremely strong. Even those in the embryonic breathing realm couldn't break it, and could even counterattack. It was rumored that the entire Starry Sky University base could explode with energy missiles that could cover most of the Emperor's star. However, this would consume too much energy, and the consequences would be unbearable. Walking into the senior student base, Jiang Li looked around and was feeling curious. Suddenly, a few people landed and surrounded him. They all took off their helmets. It was Lei Jing, Ji Qinggu, Luohan, and Serene. Hi Jiang Li. Serene was as lively as before, winking at Jiang Li. Luohan stood at the side and smiled. Jiang Li also smiled and nodded at them. Jiang Li, you're here? How's your training recently? I have to say, your endurance is amazing. You actually didn't get driven crazy by Hong Heiyu. Over the years, 9 out of 10 students who trained with Hong Heiyu were forced to drop out. You can actually endure it. I really admire you. Lei Jing laughed heartily and went forward to pat Jiang Li's shoulder. He was extremely affectionate. Through the previous incident, they had also built a deep relationship with Jiang Li. It's all right. My mentor's training is indeed insane, but he also gave me a lot of resources to train. Jiang Li shrugged his shoulders and said in a relaxed tone, Jiang Li, I heard that LV Jin's mentor, Song Shuren, wanted to harm you? He actually used his law enforcement power to frame you for colluding with the Aborigines on the Emperor's star to harm his disciple? Ji Qingwu came up to ask, is it true? It's true. Jiang Li was a little angry when he thought about it. But my mentor completely resolved it. There won't be any more problems. It seems that LV Jin and his mentor are scum. A murderous look flashed across Ji Qingwu's face. Why don't we find a chance to kill LV Jin? Kill him? Jiang Li was taken aback. Wouldn't this be used against us? This person is indeed scum, but he's still a student of Star Sky University. If he dies, his mentor can sue me. Humph. We've completed a few missions and this person always comes to cause trouble. He almost killed one of our teammates. I think he'll come for revenge sooner or later. Ji Qingwu's face was as cold as frost. Of course, there's a certain risk in killing him. His mentor definitely won't let it go, but we can kill his mentor too. What? Jiang Li saw that Ji Qingwu didn't seem to be joking. He was stunned. Kill Song Shuren too? How is that possible? Killing a mentor? Ji Qingwu was too crazy. Although there were cases of mutual killings in Star Sky University in the wild, as long as there was evidence and no investigation, the university could only let it go. However, killing a mentor was too much of a risk. Jiang Li had killed Jiang Tianhe before, but the case was still closed. No investigation was found and the case was pushed to the extraterrestrial Aborigines. Why can't we kill him? Ji Qingwu laughed coldly. There are scum among the mentors too. Besides, Song Shuren is only in the stable realm, not the embryonic breathing realm. It's not impossible to kill him. However, his vitality is 8, which is very scary. It's very difficult to kill him, but if we don't kill him, we'll be the unlucky ones. We can't kill this person even if we join forces, right? Jiang Li was still fearful. He felt that it was better to increase his strength first and have absolute power to crush the other party. It's like this. Song Shuren has already started to harm us. We've completed a few missions perfectly, but when we handed them in, we were actually obstructed, saying that we didn't complete them, causing us to lose at least a few 100 million. Luo Han explained at the side. He has some connections in the mission department, so we can't do anything to him. Moreover, LV Jin also colluded with some people to sabotage our missions. Then he really deserves to die. Jiang Li's eyes flashed. He also found it hard to tolerate such petty tricks behind his back. If not, they could openly confront him head-on and use crafty plots and schemes that were impossible to defend against, and it was indeed very uncomfortable. How do we kill him? Don't worry. I've already hooked up with an expert. He promised to help us kill Song Shuren and LV Jin. Ji Qingwu smiled lightly. With him, killing Song Shuren will be as easy as killing a dog. Who? Jiang Li was shocked. Only then did he realize that Ji Qingwu before him was also a character. The leader of the Hidden Dragon Squad, Wang Rulai. Vitality, 10. An absolute expert among the senior students, an invincible overlord with hopes of breaking through to the embryonic breathing realm. His strength has surpassed many mentors. He's from the Wang clan. Ji Qingwu said. He was the one who started this fellowship party. Let's meet him tonight. There will be many experts attending. Wang Rulai. Jiang Li's expression was strange. This guy is really bold. He's actually called Rulai? He's really domineering and high-end. Jiang Li had seen Wang Daorong and Wang Changrong before. One of them was like a hero who had appeared out of nowhere, dying without regrets for his ideals. The other walked out of hell, devouring people and liberating them. He immediately had an epiphany, and became a bodhisattva of the 8 earthly realms. His spirit never retreated, and he was a dragon among men. He wondered what kind of temperament this Wang Rula had. The 5 of them chatted for a while more before Lei Jing suddenly said, "Jiang Li, why don't you have a mecha? After this fellowship party, we'll immediately go on a dangerous mission with the Hidden Dragon Squad. Since you have time, come with us. It'll be good to have an extra helper." "What mission?" Jiang Li was just worrying about not having enough money. "We're going to the Black Dragon Pool to get the dragon grass. Each one of them can be auctioned for hundreds of millions." Luohan turned on the optical computer, which displayed all kinds of information about the Black Dragon Pool. The dragon grass is a more powerful medicinal herb than the fruit of life. Also, the Black Dragon Pool might be a cultivator's cave abode. There are many treasures left behind by the ancient cultivators. Many students from our Starry Sky University went there to explore, but unfortunately, they returned empty-handed. Some were even killed. Black Dragon Pool? What a coincidence! Jiang Li's expression was terrible. "I just came from there. One of the Black Snake Kings was actually in the embryonic breathing realm. We're definitely not a match for it." "Huh? You know that too?" Ji Qingwu's face lit up. "That's even better. It'll be easier for us to go down after familiarizing ourselves with the environment. Don't worry, our target is just the dragon grass. With an expert like Wang Rulai, there's still hope." "Wang Rulai is definitely not a match for the Black Snake King." Jiang Li shook his head. The Black Snake King's sacred fetus had transformed into the power of the man in black. As it breathed, it triggered a celestial phenomenon, which was not something that could be resisted by a physical body. "Don't worry, we have technology. In short, if Wang Rulai brings us there, we'll definitely have a chance to obtain wealth." Lei Jing said, "Quick, the fellowship party is starting. Let's go in first. There will definitely be a lot of people coming today." The 5 of them hurriedly flew up and landed in another luxurious palace-like building. Jiang Li didn't activate his flying sword, but directly manipulated the airflow and glided in the air. He was actually able to keep pace with Lei Jing, Ji Qingwu, and the other 3. This surprised Ji Qingwu a little. She instinctively looked at Jiang Li a few more times and seemed to have an idea of what was going on. In front of this palace-like building was a huge square. There were flying cars and small warships all over the square. They were all students from Starry Sky University who came to participate in the fellowship party. The new students had just enrolled, so they couldn't afford to buy warship. So many experts. Jiang Li saw that there were still warships landing continuously. Some of the men and women were wearing mechas, some were wearing school uniforms, and some were wearing formal attire. There were all kinds of people chatting and laughing. It was a high-class salon of the upper class. Chapter 165. The banquet hall was magnificent, and the waiters in charge of serving drinks were actually beautiful women and handsome men formed from energy bodies. These energy body beauties wore classical palace dresses, looking graceful and graceful, while the handsome men wore swallow-tailed suits, giving off the feeling of classical Western royalty and nobility. How was this still a fellowship party? It was more like a banquet in the palace. In some high-level societies, robots would be the receptionists, but in the Cosmic Sky University's fellowship party, energy bodies were actually the receptionists. It seemed like it was even more advanced. Jiang Li looked at this fellowship party and knew that the amount of energy it would consume was the number of days. After the banquet, hundreds of millions of yuan would probably be used up. It was simply burning money. "Look, Jiang Li. That's Wang Rulai, the leader of the Hidden Dragon Squad. He's our friend." Ji Qingwu led the group into the hall and immediately saw a tall man deep in the hall talking with the group. She quickly went up to greet him. Hearing Ji Qingwu's greeting, the man slowly turned around. Jiang Li seemed to see a figure slowly walking over from the depths of the sky, taking away all his attention. The person who came was young with eyes like stars. He seemed to be only 25 or 26 years old. He was in the prime of his life and had a smile on his face. He looked at everyone with kindness, naturally exuding a moving and warm aura. He walked over with a smile and said, "Qinggu, Lei Jing, Luhan Shiren, you're here? This is our friend. He's called." Ji Qinggu quickly introduced. "There's no need for introductions. He's called Jiang Li. I know him." Wang Rulai patted Jiang Li's shoulder. "Come, let's talk alone for a while." Jiang Li's heart stirred. Logically speaking, an expert like him shouldn't have let anyone touch his shoulder. However, Wang Rulai's approach was natural and without the slightest trace of worldly aura. This level of martial arts far surpassed his. Moreover, he felt that Wang Rulai didn't have any malicious intent and was instead filled with kindness. Thus, he let him pat his shoulder. The two of them turned to a corner of the hall. Wang Rulai didn't speak, but a voice rang in Jiang Li's mind. "Thank you for saving my uncle." "Your uncle is?" Jiang Li immediately understood. "Wang Changrong." "Changrong is my uncle. He has been very good to me since I was a child. Unfortunately, he was framed. Otherwise, he would not be like this now. Fortunately, he broke through Chang Ding on earth, and his spiritual cultivation is extremely tyrannical. This is all because you gave him a way out." The gratitude in Wang Rulai's tone was not fake, but very sincere. "Not at all. I helped him and he helped me. It's all because of the entanglement of karma." Jiang Li did not dare to take credit. "All right, let's not talk about my uncle anymore." Wang Rulai had been talking to Jiang Li telepathically. Jiang Li's cultivation was constant stabilization and would not regress. No wonder his vitality was so strong. "I know your brother, Jiang Tao." "My little brother?" Jiang Li's emotions surged and he hurriedly asked, "Where is he now?" "My brother seems to have joined the army. I haven't seen him for almost a year. Doesn't he take the exam at Starry Sky University?" Starry Sky University is not the only way out. Some people are still invincible even if they don't study at Starry Sky University. Wang Rulai smiled. Jiang Tao is now charging and breaking through the enemy lines on the vast and most dangerous battlefield of mankind. He is a great soldier. That battlefield is the cultivation world that mankind is currently attacking. The cultivators on Emperor's planet were nothing compared to the cultivators in that world. The number of spirit stones in that world was more than 10,000 times that of Emperor's planet. There were even immortal stones of a higher grade than spirit stones. If it weren't for the fact that human beings have spiritual masters to suppress them, they might have been counterattacked long ago. Jiang Tao is tempering himself there, and he is definitely outstanding. Is there any specific news about him? Jiang Li continued to ask. He was eager to know his brother's current whereabouts and cultivation. His parents and sister were also very worried. In that world, photon processors can't be used. It's a vast, bizarre world. Many of the laws of human technology can't be used there. Wang Rulai shook his head. However, as long as one masters the cultivation techniques, the cultivation of humans and the mind will be maximized there. Then we can only wait for my brother to come back. Jiang Li sighed. Since his brother was still alive, that was the best outcome. There was no point in worrying. You saved my uncle, and your brother and I know each other. Your business is my business. Wang Rulai looked into the distance. I know that Song Shuren is looking for trouble with you. Even if you kill him, the Jiang clan will still look for trouble with you. That Jiang Hailong is quite powerful, but when I advance to the embryonic breathing realm, I will also kill him. F***ck, what a fiend! Jiang Li saw that Rulai Wang was resolute and knew that he was not lying. This person was truly unstoppable, killing gods and Buddhas. The only powerful person in the Jiang family is Jiang Nalan. Back then, he was involved in the capture of my uncle. He repeatedly tried to destroy the foundation of our Wang family. He thought that after our Wang family ancestor disappeared, the Jiang family could replace him and become one of the strongest human families. Wang Rulai told the truth in front of Jiang Li. In all fairness, what do you think of the Jiang family? I know that the Jiang clan persecuted your father and now wants to capture him to study the essence of the sun and moon. Uncle has been protecting your father and has already fought with their Chongding experts several times. D****. Jiang Li clenched his fists so hard that they made cracking sound. It seems that I have to go back and teach them a lesson. It's useless to teach them a lesson. If you don't kill a snake, it will hurt you. If you don't remove the roots, it will grow again. Wang Rulai thought about it carefully. Even if you go back to Earth, it won't help. You are a little weak now. No. His eyes suddenly flashed wildly as if he had seen through Jiang Li. Your vitality is hidden and there is a stream of energy in your body. You really have a sharp eye. Jiang Li knew that he could not hide it from a peerless expert like Wang Rulai. What a strong vitality. If I'm not wrong, your vitality is at least 5. Moreover, in your Baihui acupoint, Mingmen, there are 5 places with strong sword qi hibernating. These are 5 flying swords, each of which is a rare treasure that can reside in your flesh and blood. Each of these flying swords is a priceless treasure that is hard to find even with tens of billions of dollars. Good stuff, good stuff. You actually have 5 of them in a row? Wang Rulai looked carefully again, and his eyeballs almost fell out. D****, where did you get these 5 flying swords? My mentor gave them to me. Jiang Li replied, My mentor is Hong Heiyu. We found the flying swords in a cultivator's cave together, so I refined them and temporarily attached them to my flesh and blood, nourishing them with my flesh and blood. Unfortunately, I can't integrate them with my body. The flying swords are a kind of metal energy, which is very difficult to integrate with your flesh and blood, but once they do, your flesh and blood will be extremely strong. Wang Rulai said, however, if it is forcibly nourished in your flesh and blood, the metal spiritual energy will be extremely sharp and will destroy your cells, leading to premature aging and death. The only way is to take a lot of spiritual medicine to neutralize the metal spiritual energy and strengthen your cells. At this stage, the best medicine for humans is the dragon-seeking grass, which contains an energy called dragon breath. I also have a flying sword now, and I need the dragon-seeking grass to refine it. I collected 3 dragon-seeking grass before I attached the flying swords to my flesh and blood. However, the black dragons in the Black Dragon Pond are too strong, so I don't dare to go there again. Jiang Li recalled the scene that day and was still a little afraid. I knew it. You must have been to the Black Dragon Pond. Otherwise, without the dragon-seeking grass, all the cells in your body would have been pierced by the metal spiritual energy a long time ago, and even the fruit of life wouldn't have been able to save you. Compared to people with the same vitality of 5, your body is 3 to 5 times stronger. You deliberately didn't increase your vitality but stored your potential. You are very ambitious. Wang Rulai smiled. How about it? Are you interested in going to the Black Dragon Pond with me to collect the dragon-seeking grass again? Since Brother Wang is so confident, I will definitely accompany you. Jiang Li knew that Wang Rulai must know some details about the Black Dragon Pond and would not die in vain. With your help, I have a higher chance of success. With your vitality of 5 and 5 flying swords, your combat power is equivalent to a person of 7. Wang Rulai fell into deep thought and muttered, In that case, I will tell you another secret. In the depths of the Black Dragon Pond is a secret abode of a cultivator. I have already found out that those black giant pythons are his pet. After the cultivator died, the Black Python King guarded the abode. It has spirituality and even learned the practice method. Its strength is extremely strong. It is in the embryonic breathing realm, but because its body is different from humans, the sacred fetus is also very strong. It is dozens of times stronger than the average embryonic breathing realm strong practitioner. Even the experts of Starry Sky University can't do anything to it. However, if someone can sneak into the depths of the abode and obtain a token, then the Black Python King can be obedient. This is because when the cultivator taught the Black Python how to practice, he also enslaved its soul. According to the cultivator, that token is the vitality token of the Black Python King. Therefore, I want to obtain that thing. As long as I control the Black Python King, it is equivalent to having an expert in the embryonic breathing realm as your servant. That is not all. You can also develop the whole cultivator's abode and obtain the wealth inside. This is a huge secret. Jiangli sucked in a breath of cold air. How many people know of this secret? Only I know at the moment. Wang Rulai told Jiangli telepathically, "Come, I didn't intend to tell you this secret, but your strength moved me. To me, you are my great assistant. I can't trust anyone else." Indeed, this temptation is too great. Jiangli calmed down. So, you want to get that vitality token to control the Black Python King? Of course, Wang Rulai said proudly. If I want to play, I will play it big. I have been planning this for 7 years, but I can't find anyone to cooperate with me. Uncle said that you are reliable, so I will believe you this time. I just want to get the dragon grass. Jiang Li's ambition was not so big. He knew that the cultivator's abode and the Black Python King were definitely not so easy to control. No problem, this matter can be discussed in detail. Wang Rulai looked around. The fellowship party has begun. There was music in the whole hall. It was actually the familiar Eternal Life. This song seemed to have become the most classic and great movement of mankind. In the familiar song, more and more students came to participate in the fellowship party. Some students began to look for dance partners. This fellowship party was also a feast to find boyfriends and girlfriends. Jiangli, let's dance. It was unknown when Snow Spirit had changed into a light pink dress. She looked elegant and adorable. Her dress swayed as she slowly walked over, attracting the attention of many men in the surroundings. She raised her hand to invite Jiangli, smiling like a fairy. Chapter 166. In the hall of the entire sorority, the atmosphere was very relaxed. There were students gathered in 2s and 3s everywhere. Some were talking, while others invited beautiful female classmates to dance on the dance floor to improve their relationship. It was also a method to pursue the girl they liked. Seeing that Serene came forward to invite him, Jiangli readily agreed. The two of them walked onto the dance floor hand in hand and began to dance. Luohan sat at the side and ordered a cup of tea. She watched the two of them dance with a smile on her face. There was no trace of the tense atmosphere at the beginning. It seemed that she and Serene had been through life and death together for a long time, and their relationship had become much closer. On this strange and dangerous planet, they also relied on each other and were tightly connected. Jiangli, put your arms around my waist. While dancing, Serene suddenly turned her head slightly and whispered into Jiangli's ear, "You're not natural at all when you dance like this. You're afraid of your hands and feet. Even a girl like me can let go. What are you afraid of?" Okay. Jiangli smiled awkwardly. He felt even more uncomfortable after hearing what she said. He had no choice but to stretch his arms and hug Serene's waist. He felt that it was soft and indescribably comfortable. Serene also hugged Jiangli, and the two of them got closer. They swayed on the dance floor and slowly danced to the soothing music. Their postures were beautiful, like two dancing butterflies. Jiangli was more than 9 meters tall, and Serene was also 8 meters tall. They were extremely tall. When the two of them hugged and danced together, Jiangli could even see her lips when he lowered his head. Serene did not have any makeup on. She was completely barefaced, but her skin was very good. Her lips were crystal clear, like a delicate and tender flower, giving people the urge to kiss them. "Jiangli, will you be my boyfriend?" Suddenly, Shiren let out a soft and inaudible sound. What? Jiangli was shocked. His body stiffened, and his movements became stiff. I said, "Will you be my boyfriend?" Shiren's voice was a little louder, and she stared straight into Jiangli's eyes. She looked a little nervous and expectant. Then, Jiangli hesitated, not knowing how to answer. He inexplicably asked a stupid question, "What about Luohan?" Shiren snorted angrily. She reached out and pinched Jiangli's waist. Her strength was so great that he actually felt pain. "I knew you were going to say that. You're too greedy." "No, it's nothing. I was just asking casually," Jiangli quickly explained. Don't dance. You see, Luohan looks calm and composed over there, but in fact, she is very angry. She is waiting anxiously. Go and invite her to dance." Shiren pulled Jiangli out of the dance floor and sat down next to Luohan. She threw Jiangli aside and pouted. "Luohan, I've finished dancing with him. Now it's your turn. I've long seen that you are impatient from waiting." "It's you who is impatient." "I'm not impatient at all." Luohan smiled and poured tea for Shiren and Jiangli. "Sit down and rest for a while." Luohan was wearing a white cheongsam with dark lotus patterns. Her posture when pouring tea was extremely elegant. She spoke softly and had a very shallow smile on her lips. She was charming and gentle. She was completely different from the lively and lovely Shiren. Shiren picked up the tea and took a big gulp. Then she threw the teacup on the table angrily. She opened her mouth and said, "What kind of lousy tea is this? It's scalding me to death. I'm so unlucky to drink tea. I'm so angry." "It's you who were absent-minded. You deserve to be scalded. Why are you blaming the tea? This tea is so innocent." Luohan blinked and imitated Shiren's tone. Her words were vicious, but she handed her a cup of warm water. Shiren turned her head and said angrily, "Don't make fun of me here. You guys go and dance. I'll stay alone for a while." Luohan laughed and pointed at Shiren's head with her index finger. Then she extended her hand to Jiangli. Jiangli didn't dare to speak. At this time, he was relieved. He quickly got up and took Luohan's hand and walked to the center of the dance floor. At the same time, on the other side of the hall, there was a small group of people gathering. A pair of eyes looked at Shiren and the other two. The owner of that pair of eyes was LV Jean. The people with him were all powerful senior students. They didn't know which team they were from, but each of them had an extraordinary aura. They were all big shots. "LV Jean, are you talking about this freshman? Very powerful? Even you were hypnotized? Even your 4% vitality is no match for him. I don't believe it. His vitality doesn't look strong from afar," a senior student said disdainfully. TSK. Another senior student saw that Jiangli actually invited Luohan to the dance floor. He also put his arm around Luohan's waist and danced with an ambiguous expression. Shiren, who had just danced with Jiangli, was drinking tea and watching. "This freshman is so arrogant. He actually danced with two girls. These two girls are much stronger than us. These two girls are not bad." Another senior student's eyes lit up. "I can see that they seem to be pure girls who have never been in a relationship before. I'll go and pick one up." As he spoke, he strode forward and soon arrived in front of Shiren. "Hi, beautiful." Seeing that Shiren was drinking tea alone, this senior walked up and greeted her. "Junior, hello. I'm Huang Xiu. How about I dance with you?" Shiren looked at Huang Shifeng coldly. Her tone was so cold that it could freeze into ice. "I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend. You should ask someone else to dance." "Is that so?" Huang Shifeng was rejected and instantly felt embarrassed. "Can't I even dance? Let's be friends. After all, we are classmates. In the future, if you have any trouble, I can help you solve it." "No need. If I have trouble, my boyfriend will help me solve it." Shiren didn't even look at Huang Shifeng. Her tone was even colder, causing the other's expression to turn even uglier. Huang Shifeng felt like he had lost all face when a man was rejected like this with a companion watching from the side. The corners of his eyes twitched and he continued, "Junior, your boyfriend is dancing with another woman. Aren't you jealous at all? I think your boyfriend is quite a playboy." As he spoke, he pointed at Jiang Li and Luohan on the dance floor. "How can he hug another girl during a party and leave his girlfriend to the side? That doesn't seem to have anything to do with you." Serene was in a bad mood. How could she have a good expression? Her words almost made Huang Shifeng vomit blood and choke. A cold light flashed in Huang Shifeng's eyes. He didn't explode. Instead, he looked at Jiang Li and Luohan dancing on the dance floor and said darkly, "Junior, look. Your boyfriend seems to be doing something?" "Jiang Li, look, a senior is flirting with Serene. Why aren't you going to stop him?" On the dance floor, Luohan and Jiang Li were dancing. While they were hugging each other, they also saw the scene of the senior flirting with Serene. Luohan couldn't help but tease him with a smile. "He doesn't come with good intentions." Jiang Li frowned. He also noticed LV Jean in the distance. However, he didn't make a move for the time being. This time, the founder of the fellowship party was Wang Rulai. If he made everyone unhappy, it would be equivalent to not giving Wang Rulai face. Just as he was speaking, his vision suddenly went black. He felt Luohan's expression suddenly change. She held a sharp blade in her hand and fiercely stabbed at him. The strong murderous aura made his hair stand on end. He was shocked and instinctively pushed outwards. However, halfway through, he suddenly woke up. The brain of the universe in his mind suddenly moved, and all the illusions in front of him disappeared. He was still hugging Luohan, and he didn't do anything. "Someone hypnotized me." He immediately knew that someone was hypnotizing him, causing him to produce all kinds of illusions. If he had really been hypnotized just now and thought that Luohan was trying to assassinate him, he would have suddenly erupted and sent her flying. Then, Luohan would have been seriously injured. And now that he withdrew his hand, Luohan's entire body was hugged a little tighter by him. Her entire body was pressed against his chest, and she let out a "ing" sound. She was so embarrassed that her face turned red. She thought that Jiang Li was going to do something bad to her. Motherf ***, how audacious! He actually dares to hypnotize me. Jiang Li's gaze swept across and suddenly a thought pierced out. This thought was vast and mighty, like the arrival of a unique great emperor in the vast galaxy of the universe. Huang Shifeng's eyes turned cold. He looked at Jiang Li, and an intense mental battle began between them. "Why did you hypnotize me?" Jiang Li sent a mental message, wanting to get to the bottom of things first. "Could it be that you were provoked by LV Jean and came to deal with me? There is no enmity between us, so it's not good to draw hatred like this. You are a senior, don't you know the principle of being kind to others? I just don't like the sight of you." Huang Shifeng's mind became stronger and stronger. Good boy, a new student actually has such a profound mental realm and his own Tao? I underestimated you. My first thought did not enslave your mind, but let me see if you can withstand my second thought. You really want to compete with me in terms of mental strength. Jiang Li secretly focused his mind. He found that this senior's mental cultivation was no small matter. He was also at the Grand Calm level and had his own Tao. Of course, how about this? Let's make a bet. If you lose, these two girls will belong to me. If you win, no. You have no chance of winning. Kneel for me. Heavenly punishment divinity shield, sigh of the gods. Flood to destroy the world, cleanse the world of sin. Huang Shifeng's powerful mind suddenly condensed into a wave that covered the sky and swarmed towards Jiang Li. Everything in front of Jiang Li's eyes disappeared. All that was left was a torrential flood that swept towards him. Everything was like the end of the world. Huang Shifeng's tall body stood in the clouds. It was as if God had blown the horn of doomsday, beginning to destroy the world. "Kneel, I will save you. I will let you recount the sins of your life. Kneel and sincerely repent. Only then can you escape punishment. I am God, I save the world, and I can also cleanse the world of sin. Your soul is impure and must be immersed in the flood to repent. The rumbling voice was like thunder from the heavens, shaking the soul. In front of this kind of mental attack, no one would have the ability to resist. They could only kneel and recount their sins. So I have heard. Something flashed in the depths of Jiang Li's mind. An even more vast mental power surged out. Everywhere it went, flowers fell from the sky and all the flood disappeared. What replaced it was a Star River Emperor, resplendent as a song. He stretched out his hand, and the entire sky was twisted by his grasp. He firmly grabbed Huang Shifeng's mind in his hand. Rumble! In the real world, the two people's minds clashed. In an instant, the victor was decided. With a thud, Huang Shifeng knelt on the ground and continuously kowtowed in repentance. He began to bawl. I'm not human. I've done many ugly things. My soul is impure. When I was 10, I killed a servant of my family. My family used their legal connections to help me clean up my mess, saying that the servant fell to his death on his own. When I was 15, I caused a classmate who opposed me to go bankrupt. In the end, he committed suicide. When I was 18, I drugged and raped a female classmate. I have done all kinds of bad things. I am not human. I deserve to die. I am confessing now. He wailed and continuously slapped himself. He spoke of all his past experiences. All the bad things he had done were vivid in his mind. Every word was very loud, and the people around him could hear it clearly. Many of the students who came to participate in the fellowship party were stunned, not knowing what had happened. However, after he spoke for 3 to 5 minutes with tears in his eyes, all the students knew that he had been hypnotized by someone and was making a fool of himself here. However, some of the students secretly despised him in their hearts. This person actually had so many sins. Damn it! A few of the older students who were chatting with Huang Shifeng were also observing the situation. They had originally thought that Huang Shifeng could teach Jiang Li a lesson and make a fool of him. They had not expected that it would be Huang Shifeng who made a fool of himself. One of the older students was about to step forward to stop him but was stopped by LV Jean. Brother, this person's mental strength is extremely strong. If we stop him, we will be seen as deliberately provoking him. Let's let Huang Shifeng make a fool of himself first. Let's use our mental strength together and hypnotize this person at the same time to make a fool of himself. That's good too. He can hypnotize Huang Shifeng. We might not be able to gain the upper hand alone. Let's work together and hypnotize him. He alone cannot withstand the mental attack of so many of us. There were a total of 5 older students present. Including LV Jean, there were 6 of them. They exchanged glances. Rumble. 6 extremely tyrannical mental waves directly descended upon Jiang Li's mind. They wanted to make him lose his mind, turn him into an idiot and a madman, and make a fool of himself at the ball. Chapter 167. What a powerful mental wave. 6 of you attacking me at the same time? Since that's the case, I'll let you know how strong my mental energy is. Not to mention 6, even 60 people of the same realm attacking me at the same time might not be able to hypnotize me. Jiang Li was perceptive, and in that instant, he sensed danger. However, he didn't move and continued to hold Luohan's arm with a carefree expression. He had been through so many storms, so what could a small mental attack do? Of course, mental attacks were very ferocious because mental energy could be stacked. It was different from physical attacks. Physical attacks couldn't be stacked. 2 people with vitality of 2 couldn't reach the power of a person with vitality of 4. They couldn't even reach 2. 1. This was because 2 people with vitality of 2 couldn't defeat someone with vitality of 2. 1. However, mental attacks were different. 2 people of the same realm could easily hypnotize someone of the same realm, increasing their mental energy by many times. Now that the 6 of them were working together to hypnotize someone of the same realm, it was equivalent to increasing their mental energy by 6 times. Even if 6 experts of the same realm worked together, they could interfere with experts of the same realm. Others couldn't feel the mental waves, but illusions appeared in front of Jiangli. He felt endless mental pressure bombarding him. His brain cells felt like they were shrinking. This feeling was very uncomfortable. It was as if he was being suppressed in an abyss and his mind was being sealed. Great Seal. Meditation. Xiantian / Meditation. 5-5 Labyrinth God. Meditation. Their voices bombarded the depths of Jiang Li's mind. With 6 experts stacking their mental energies, unless it was Chong Ding, he wouldn't be a match. In front of Jiang Li, blades, labyrinths, and many seals appeared, wrapping his body up. Jiang Li's mind shook. As the brain of the universe operated, water, fire, wind, and lightning appeared. It was majestic and majestic, tearing apart the stars. Those meditations were all destroyed in an instant. As I have heard, a great emperor preached in the starry sky. Lightning came out of the universe, wind traveled in space, fire covered the world, water tribulation, flood waves, boundless worlds, for types of tremors. Passages of scriptures seeped out from Jiang Li's mind. The expressions of the 6 people changed. All of them retreated at the same time. All of their spiritual power was crushed in an instant. They could only feel that Jiang Li's spiritual power was almost endless and invincible. However, Jiang Li's psychic power did not penetrate their bodies. It only lingered around them, and at the same time, there was a rumbling voice in the depths of their hearts. I have no enmity with you. Do you think I'm easy to bully by provoking me? It's best if you don't hang out with scum like LV Jean anymore. It's not good for you. Jiang Li did not kill them. Originally, he could have made these older students kneel down and repent like Huang Shifeng, losing all face. But where it was possible to forgive people, he had to forgive them. He did not have the power to do as he pleased. He did not want to make too many enemies because of a personal dispute. Except for LV Jean, the other 5 people's faces were ashen. They never expected that Jiang Li's spiritual power would be so strong that he could defeat the 6 of them in one fell swoop and counterattack. His tyrannical thoughts revolved around them. As long as they moved, it would seep into their bodies and control their brains, turning them into walking corpses. Powerful. Brother, let's talk. One of the older students sent out a thought wave. We were indeed bewitched by LV Jean, but you are right. We have no enmity with you. Why would we go against an expert like you? You are magnanimous and righteous. We are very grateful. We hope that you will let Huang Shifeng go. From now on, we will draw a clear line between us and scum like LV Jean. All right, since you have said so, I will not make things difficult for you. Jiang Li withdrew his psychic power. His tone was cold. Take LV Jean and Huang Shifeng away. Let's go. One of the older students flew over and grabbed Huang Shifeng in front of everyone's eyes. He called out to him and left the sorority. They did not pay attention to LV Jean, clearly drawing a clear line between them. LV Jean looked venomously at Jiang Li. He found a hidden corner and quietly slipped out. Jiang Li did not care about him. A small character like him would die in his hands sooner or later. But now was not the time to kill him. After this small disturbance, the atmosphere on the dance floor became lively again. Many students were not surprised by this disturbance. This was because Starry Sky University's student gatherings often had fierce fights, and some were even life and death enemies. For example, the top few teams were all enemies, and they often fought and killed each other during missions. Because in missions there were often teams that almost caused other teams to be annihilated. Some even borrowed a knife to killing each other. The competition was very cruel. However, there were still some students who were confused, not knowing why Huang Shifeng was bawling. Jiang Li had been dancing on the dance floor the entire time, and there had been nothing out of the ordinary. Many people thought that Xue Ling was unable to bear the harassment and had decided to teach the lecher a lesson. They were all shocked at how powerful this girl was and how vicious her methods were. They looked at Xue Ling as if she was a pervert. This was a spiritual attack, a battle of hypnosis, invisible and formless. Only the people involved knew what had happened. Of course, there were also a few powerful people who saw some clues. After the order was restored, Jiang Li and Luohan finished their dance and walked together to Serene. Serene was dumbfounded, completely forgetting the previous unhappiness. She gave Jiang Li a thumbs up and praised, "You're good." Of course, she could see that Jiang Li had defeated so many masters in one fell swoop and taught a lesson to Huang Shifeng. After she entered Starry Sky University, she followed her mentor and her vitality was raised to 2.5. She was not an ordinary person, her vision was sharp and she could see through everything. It's nothing. Jiang Li sat down and took a sip of tea. I can let these people go, but we can't let LV Jean go. With such a troublemaker, we can't eat or sleep in peace. It's a small matter. Serene and Luohan looked at each other and seemed to remember something. Luohan said seriously, "The real important thing is on Earth. Regarding your family's situation, the two of us have discussed it and have joined forces with Ji Qingwu, Lei Zheng, and some forces on Earth to form a company. We bought an island and 3 mountains in the capital and are now building a base. We have hired your father as the Chief Technology Officer to study the essence of the sun and moon. You also have shares in it and are the nominal chairman." There's such a thing? Jiang Li did not expect Luohan and Serene to make such a big move. Look, this is an electronic document. The company's name is Scarlet Emperor Corporation. Luohan clicked on the optical computer, and a lot of registration information, funds, and the progress of the project appeared. Jiang Li saw an island and 3 mountains on the coast of the capital. A bridge across the sea connected the island into the shape of a crescent moon, and the 3 mountains were in the shape of 3 stars. The feng shui was excellent. We have invested a total of 5 billion for the initial construction of the group. This feng shui design was personally designed by Mr. Chang Rong to imitate the cave residence of ancestor Bodhi in ancient mythology, Crescent 3 Stars Cave. Also, Wang Rulai has invested 3 billion. We will gather together and establish our own company to develop the sun and moon essence. Serene was serious when talking about business, and her tone was swift and decisive. Good. It's not good to rely on the security group to study the sun and moon essence. It's best to establish our own company. Jiang Li looked at the company's information and progress and exclaimed, "I didn't expect you to do such a big thing. How is it? I'm a big investor in this company, and I'm very interested in the sun and moon essence." At this time, Wang Rulai walked over and said with a smile, "However, I won't participate in the management of the company. This company is yours, and I only want the dividends from the shares. I have many investment companies on other planets, but I can't manage them all." Scarlet Emperor Corporation, Scarlet Emperor Corporation. Jiang Li muttered to himself and suddenly smiled. This name is a bit interesting. Your name is Jiang Li. Li is fire and Scarlet Emperor is you. What do you think of the names your 2 girlfriends came up with? Are they okay? Wang Rulai glanced at Luohan and Serene and teased in a joking tone. 2 girlfriends? Do you think you have 3 wives and 4 concubines in ancient times? Jiang Li almost spat out a mouthful of tea and quickly waved his hand. He glanced at Luohan out of the corner of his eye and found that she was just sipping her tea elegantly. She looked calm and composed, but her slender white neck and cheeks were slightly red. Her pretentious expression was very attractive. Can you stop fooling around? We're talking business. Serene snorted and glared at Wang Rulai. TSK, what kind of society are we in now? The laws of some planets already allow polygamy, and it's not unusual for one wife to have more than one husband. It's not a big deal for a capable man or woman to find a few wives and husbands. Humans have long been open-minded. Just like the feminists on the ancient dragon planet, some powerful women can have 8 or 10 husbands. Wang Rulai pretended to be mature and said, "Young man, humans have long been free in modern society. As long as you and I are willing, it's not a big deal. I will marry more than 10 wives in the future." As soon as he said that he would marry more than 10 wives, Luohan and Shiren both looked disgusted and expressed their disdain. Wang Rulai laughed heartily and did not care at all. Human society was indeed very open-minded. The law on Earth was still monogamous, but the laws of some planets had changed. The local laws of each planet were somewhat different, and marriage was one of the big changes. Jiang Li had also seen the news. In the human base of ancient dragon planet, a rich woman was marrying 8 handsome men. 8 husbands were coming together. This was the powerful side of modern women. Feminists even said that this was a great revolution. Take some time to go home and solve the problems at home. Wang Rulai's voice was transmitted to Jiang Li's mind. I invested in your Red Emperor Group, mainly for the smuggling business. My uncle has told me that you have a spatial magic weapon that can be used for the smuggling business of Starry Sky University. Did Mr. Chang Rong tell you this secret? Jiang Li was shocked. It doesn't matter. Our Wang family also has such an artifact, but it won't fall into my hands. Wang Rulai played it down. The Black Dragon Pond's cave mansion is likely to be a Grotto Heaven-level artifact. It would be great if I could get it this time. We humans will soon be able to develop space-folding technology. When that time comes, smuggling will be difficult, so we should take this opportunity to make a fortune first. Smuggling all kinds of goods from Star Sky University was a profitable business because students bought things very cheaply, but all kinds of goods were very expensive outside. Take spirit stones, for example. Outside, it was 10 million yuan per gram, and the supply could not meet the demand. Students, on the other hand, could buy them for a few million yuan. I see. Jiang Li frowned. But if we buy a lot of supplies from Star Sky University, it will cause an investigation. If smuggling is found out, it will not be a small matter. It doesn't matter. We won't buy things from Star Sky University. We will collect resources on Emperor Star and bring them back. We will be self-sufficient and can also buy some team's resources. Wang Rulai waved his hand. Our problem now is that the resources we collect from Emperor Star can either be used by ourselves or sold to Star Sky University. There is no other choice because we can't bring them out. In fact, Star Sky University has created a kind of monopoly and violated human anti-monopoly laws. We collect our own resources and transport them out to sell. It is morally sound. Star Sky University may have laws, but they are evil and arbitrary. Chapter 168. Jiang Li happened to be worried about making money, so Wang Rulai immediately provided him with a way to make money. This was like someone giving him a pillow just when he was about to doze off. Although it was illegal to use his space to smuggle goods, it was not morally wrong if he didn't buy them from Starry Sky University but collected them on the Emperor Star and brought them out. According to the human anti-monopoly law, Starry Sky University had indeed created a monopoly. Unfortunately, Jiang Li's space couldn't carry any goods. Since Wang Rulai knew this secret, he made it clear. I'm afraid I can't make this deal if I don't use the space now. Why? Wang Rulai was a little anxious. Do you think I'm not giving you enough benefits? I've hoarded a lot of goods myself. As long as I can transport them outside and sell them on the black market, I'll immediately make a huge fortune. Your company can also develop. This is a win-win situation. Why do you refuse? There's really something wrong with the space. To tell you the truth, I'm not afraid. My mentor and I also conquered a cultivator's cave and obtained a lot of flying swords. There are 49 of them in total. I've only subdued 5 of them, and the remaining 44 are killing each other in the depths of the space. Whoever goes in will be crushed into powder, Jiang Li told the truth. What? Wang Rulai's eyes bulged like bells. He was so surprised that he lost his composure. F***CK. No way. 49 flying swords. I don't have any of these flying swords. Can you sell me a few? With these flying swords, I can collect enough dragon hunting grass and use special cultivation methods to transform the flying swords into energy. Then, I'll integrate them with my body, and their lethality will increase by more than 10 times. These 49 flying swords are a set. With each additional sword, their power increases. It's a pity to separate them. If you want to see them, I can show them to you sometime. Jiang Li wasn't afraid that someone would take away the Emperor's relic. Even Chen Tianshu was shocked to see the Emperor's relic. Fortuitous encounter, what a great fortuitous encounter. You are the lucky one. Wang Rulai calmed down and sighed. Let's go. I'll take you to my field laboratory. You built a field laboratory? Jiang Li was a little surprised. That's rare. That's nothing. The Cosmic Star University isn't a place for us students. Our every move is strictly monitored. So many experts have set up secret bases on the Imperial Star to store items and research. My laboratory isn't that big. The truly big ones, like the Immortal Squad and the Saint Monarch Squad, are built deep underground. They're tightly sealed and extremely mysterious. It is said that they found a cultivator's cave residence, which is even more stable than the base of Starry Sky University. The reason why I set my eyes on the Black Dragon Pool this time is that I have taken a fancy to the Immortal's Cave of the Cultivator. I hope that after I subdue it, I can use the Black Dragon Pool as my own experimental base. Wang Rulai's plan was very thorough. Experimental base? Jiang Li suddenly thought of the valley where he practiced swordsmanship. There seemed to be some secrets in the depths of that valley. Moreover, it was extremely stable and could absorb the energy of the stars in the sky. It was a natural base. Perhaps his own laboratory could be set up in that place. Of course, building a base required a huge amount of money. He also needed to buy a lot of robots to do manual labor. Each robot cost a lot of money, more than 10 million star dollars. All kinds of materials, energy furnaces, reactors, and large optical computers were all money. Without tens of billions of dollars, it was impossible to build a laboratory on the Imperial Star. If he wanted a large laboratory, hundreds of billions of dollars could be spent. In the evening, the atmosphere of the party became more and more lively. Many students were communicating with each other, meeting new friends, and forming various large and small circles. This kind of party was the best platform for socializing. Every student of Starry Sky University was a leader, and most of them had huge forces behind them. If they united, they could do whatever they wanted in human society. Therefore, every student of Starry Sky University valued socializing. Perhaps, when a small group united together, it was just a fleeting idea at the beginning, and in the end, it could become a giant business group of the human race. Jiang Li, Luohan, Shiren, Lei Jing, Ji Qingwu, and Wang Rulai. 6 outstanding people formed the Red Emperor group. Who knew what the fate of this group would be? The party ended in the middle of the night. Battleships flew up into the air, and the students went back or went out for a ride. There are so many students attending the party this time. Jiang Li walked out of the noisy party and sighed. There are really hidden dragons and crouching tigers. What is this? Wang Rulai's tone was indifferent. The people attending this party are all small shrimp. The big students are all busy cultivating, researching, collecting, and can't wait to improve their strength. They rarely participate in such activities. Let's go and take a look at my base. While speaking, everyone boarded his battleship and flew out of the human base. What a big battleship! This battleship was also 100 meters long. It was luxuriously decorated and looked very stable. Although it was not as good as Hong Heiyu's battleship, It was far better than the Starfish battleship. Its cost was definitely more than 10 billion. This battleship is the result of my painstaking efforts. I spent 20 billion star dollars to build it. Wang Rulai stroked his battleship lovingly. Unfortunately, this battleship is not enough to flaunt its power in the Black Dragon Swamp. Therefore, I want to get more funds to upgrade the battleship. However, without money, everything is just empty talk. Therefore, it is necessary to transport all kinds of materials to Earth and sell them on the black market to make huge profits. Do you have a source of customers? Jiang Li asked. To transport resources to Earth, there must be a source of customers and a market. Otherwise, it would be a waste to just pile them up there. You don't have to worry about customers. Countless people want to buy materials, but they can't because they don't have the channels to do so. Wang Rulai waved his hand confidently. I have already contacted many buyers. As long as the materials are transported out, they will be sold out in an instant. I only have to worry about not being able to buy them, but I don't have to worry about not being able to sell them. Jiang Li thought about it and felt that this was indeed the case. There were many rich people, but there was a lack of materials. Every kind of material on the Emperor's Star was a good thing, and countless rich people dreamed of owning it. The battleship flew up silently. There were not even any atmospheric fluctuations. This was the most advanced airflow control system. It was to prevent the huge waves from being discovered by the enemy while the battleship was flying. Ordinary battleships did not have such a system, and it was very valuable. Dang dang dang, Ji Qingwu knocked on the battleship, making a dull metallic sound. She said, "This is the rare black misfortune gold. Ordinary battleships do not have this material." Not at all. Black misfortune gold is a strange metal that truly contains the laws of the universe. It is too expensive. I only added about 30 grams of black misfortune gold to my battleship. If the entire battleship was built with black misfortune gold, it would be able to cross the universe. Wang Rulai was very hospitable and introduced the various equipment on the ship to everyone. The battleship started moving and did not stop until dawn. Jiang Li saw a stretch of mountains. The feng shui was very good. The mountains were like the backs of turtles and snakes, rising and falling. At the head of the dragon, a base could be vaguely seen. This is a natural feng shui dragon vein called the turtle-snake-coiled dragon. It is a very rare feng shui layout. Building a base on this dragon head will increase luck. Wang Rulai landed the battleship. Everyone saw that the feng shui dragon head was the gate of the base. It was silvery white. From a distance, it looked like a mountain dragon holding a dragon pearl, absorbing the spirit qi of heaven and earth and the essence of the universe. The feng shui layout was indeed unique. The gate of the base slowly opened, and many robots could be seen going back and forth to do work and build. There were no humans on the Emperor's Star. All construction had to be done by robots or energy bodies. Energy bodies were expensive to build, and Wang Rulai could not afford to use them, so he could only use robots to build. Click, click. The silvery white gate opened. Jiang Li and the others walked in and found that the base led directly to the belly of the mountain. It was not stuffy inside at all. They could see outside. It seemed that the rocks had been transformed into a kind of crystal. From the inside they could see outside, and the outside still looked like a rocky mountain range. Let's go and burn some incense in front of the statue of our Wang family's ancestor. Wang Rulai led everyone to a hall that looked like a temple. Jiang Li looked up and saw a stone statue in front of him. Although it was only the height of an ordinary person, it looked like a celestial venerable. It was a young man wearing white clothes. He had a smile on his face and looked kind and ordinary. At first glance, he looked like a big brother next door. However, upon closer inspection, this person did not seem to be in this world or even in the material world. It was as if he had merged with the void. This is our Wang family's ancestor, Wang Chao. Wang Rulai's words immediately made everyone feel deep respect. They felt that this statue had a trace of sacredness and inviolability. "Everyone, come up and pay your respects. Maybe the ancestor will bless us." Wang Rulai went forward and knelt down. It was as if he was worshipping the great path and looking up at a high mountain. "Is Senior Wang Chao alive or dead?" Jiang Li suddenly asked. "I don't know, there's no news." Wang Rulai shook his head. "But we always believe that the ancestor is not dead, because the disciples of our Wang family have to build a statue of the ancestor, pray to him, burn incense, and worship him. Some disciples have even received blessings from the ancestor, and they have even been taught various fist techniques and martial arts in their dreams. When they wake up, their vitality has greatly increased. This means that our Wang family's ancestor is likely watching us from the other side of the vast starry sky." "What?" Jiang Li was shocked. "You can get blessings from the Wang family's ancestor by praying? Isn't this the legendary manifestation of the gods and Buddhas? The human mind masters, people who have cultivated to the vision divine realm, are gods and Buddhas themselves." Wang Rulai looked at Jiang Li. "You should know that the minds of people in the vision divine realm do not need energy. They can directly appear in the material world, so they can cross the distant starry sky with just a thought and bless people. Didn't Guan Yin Bodhisattva say that when all living beings in the world encounter a disaster, as long as they think of his name, they will immediately appear to help them? That is indeed the case. People in the vision divine realm are too strong. They are gods and Buddhas." Jiang Li also knew how terrifying these people were. The #1 native expert of the Emperor's Star, Chen Tianshu, was almost invincible. It was like he could teleport, and that powerful spirit's sword had been taken away by him with a wave of his hand, but he was only in the meditative divine realm. He was still 108,000 miles away from the vision divine realm. This is humanity's greatest person. Although he is not our ancestor, out of respect we should also pay our respect. Luohan came forward and respectfully clasped her hands together as she knelt down to pay her respects. Jiang Li nodded and also came forward to burn incense. He paid his respects to the once strongest person of humanity, the overlord of the martial path. The 6 of them burned incense, bowed, and paid their respects. Just as they were kneeling in worship, a miracle suddenly appeared. This statue of a god actually began to shake. The originally hard stone statue actually had a delicate feeling like it was made of meat. It carried a human aura, completely going against the laws of physics. At this moment, everyone seemed to be frozen. They were all stunned as they stared at the living statue in a daze. This statue actually began to move. It came in front of everyone and first touched Wang Rulai's head. Then it started to touch Luohan, Shiren, Lei Zheng, and Ji Qingwu's heads before finally standing in front of Jiang Li. Chapter 169. Everyone was in awe and worshipped Wang Chao's statue. The statue actually manifested itself. Everyone was in a trance, as if they were in a dream. They saw the statue come to life, walk in front of them, and as it reached out to touch their heads, waves of cool and boundless energy filled their hearts. They didn't know if it was real or an illusion. They had already lost the ability to think. It was as if their hearts had been completely enveloped by some boundless and surging intent. Jiang Li didn't receive any blessings. He only saw the god's statue walk in front of him and stretch out its hand. It paused for a moment and then made a grabbing motion. The Grand Emperor relic in his body flew out on its own. The Grand Emperor relic fell into the god statue's hand. He carefully observed it and suddenly let out a long sigh. He didn't speak but sent out a thought. Heart of the heavenly sword, subduing all swords. The swords come from the same source, the human heart is the heavenly heart. Rumble. Jiang Li felt that this thought seemed to rush into the depths of the Grand Emperor relic. The 44 restless flying swords fell to the ground, as if they had been subdued and refined. That thought was a sword will, the true essence of the sword. It could control all swords and sword technique. Could it be that Patriarch Wang Chao appeared and helped me subdue the flying swords? Jiang Li thought to himself. In a daze, he felt like he was dreaming. He saw the god statue tossing the Grand Monarch relic back into its body and returning to the starting point. The entire spacetime spun, the sky spun, and the earth spun. A strange wind howled, and everyone regained clarity as though they had just woken up from a dream. No one spoke. They were all in a daze. After a full 10 minutes, the hall was still calm. It was as if nothing had happened. Ha ha! Suddenly, Rulai Wang laughed. The ancestor has appeared. It's actually the ancestor. My vitality has increased by 1. It has broken through from 10 to 11. The ancestor is really invincible. He won't appear easily. The splendid Dharma Sutra says that every Buddha is born because of a great cause and effect. They won't appear easily. The ancestor didn't appear because of me. It seems like it's because of Jiang Li. How strange. Did I have a dream? That god statue actually moved and is touching my head to give me blessings? Is it real or fake? Ji Qinggu, Luohan, Serene, and Lei Jing came back to their senses as if they had just woken up from a dream. It's true. My life force has increased. Serene was overjoyed. She waved her hand, and innate energy shot out from her hand like whips, hitting the ground and causing sparks to fly. My vitality has increased from 2.5 to 3.5. Am I dreaming? That's a whole 1% increase. I also increased by 1. Luohan said in disbelief. This is not a dream. It really improved. Moreover, I feel that my mind is more flexible and my brain cells are at least twice as strong. At first, I was worried that I would have to drop out of school if my vitality didn't reach 3 at the end of the semester. But now, my vitality has greatly exceeded the target. Starry Sky University also has an elimination rate. Freshmen will be assessed in their first year of school. Their vitality must reach 3, otherwise they will be eliminated and expelled. In the second year, his vitality had to reach 4. In the third year, his vitality was 5. So on and so forth. Every year, there will be an examination to check your result. In theory, as long as you can meet the requirements, you can continue studying at Starry Sky University and enjoy high treatment. Of course, if your vitality reaches 7 and above, you can migrate to the elite area to work or choose not to study at Starry Sky University. Same for us. Lei Zheng and Ji Qinggu were also observing the changes in their bodies. They couldn't believe what had just happened. Everyone's vitality increased by 1. Of course, Jiang Li was an exception. His vitality did not improve at all. However, he had already regained his senses. It's not a dream. Senior Wang Chao has manifested himself. As the strongest person on Earth, his spirit has the power to transcend time and space. A little manifestation is nothing. As he spoke, he penetrated his mental power into the space of the Emperor relic. Suddenly, the scene before him changed. All the agitated flying swords were subdued and shrunk. There was no overflow of energy. Instead, they turned into the shape of needles and scattered in the depths of the space. With a thought, a flying sword appeared in his hand, and he easily retrieved it. This sword was already in the shape of a needle. The body of the needle was sparkling and translucent, and smoke could be seen everywhere inside. There was also something like a bloodline surging, a sign that it had been completely refined by someone. Powerful energy surged wildly within it, breathing in and out. As expected, they got the benefit of increasing their vitality by 1, and I got the benefit of subduing these flying swords. Jiang Li understood. Of course, although these flying swords were no longer agitated, Jiang Li still couldn't use them because his body couldn't bear it. The energy contained in each flying sword was more powerful than a nuclear reactor. Jiang Li's 5 flying swords were nourished in his flesh. In the future, he still needed to find dragon grass to neutralize the energy. If he added 1 more, his cells would age even faster. But now that the flying swords had been subdued, the Emperor Relic's space was freed up. He could hide like before and enter any dangerous place. Like this, there was a higher chance of finding dragon grass in the Black Dragon Pond. This was because the Emperor Relic didn't have any fluctuations. It was just a normal stone that didn't stand out in the mud at all. Hong Heiyu couldn't see any clues. Jiangli, I have to thank you this time. If it wasn't for you, my Wang family's ancestor wouldn't have given us his blessing. Wang Rulai walked over and excitedly held Jiang Li's hands, shaking them. Why is it because of me? Jiang Li guessed that it might be because of the Emperor Relic. When he was paying his respects to Wang Chao, the other party had felt the fluctuations of the relic in the depths of the universe. An expert like Wang Chao, a spiritual master and a vision domain expert, would definitely feel something like the Emperor Relic. Thus, his consciousness had transcended time and space and arrived here to give his blessing. This was the method of a Buddha. I'm not sure either. I just feel that it's because of you. Otherwise, after paying my respects for so many years, the old ancestor would have already appeared. Haha, let's go. Brother, let's go look at the resources I've stockpiled, and then think of a way to subdue your flying swords to free up the space. Wang Rulai transmitted his voice to Jiang Li. No need, no need. Jiang Li quickly said. Just now, the Wang family's old ancestor appeared and suppressed the flying swords, causing them to completely surrender. What I need to do now is to let the flying swords enter my body one by one and reside in my flesh and blood. Finally, I will become one with the swords. Our old ancestor actually gave you his blessing and helped you subdue the flying swords and free up the space? Wang Rulai pondered for a moment and said, It seems that the old ancestor knows something and knows that humanity is in danger. Our Wang family is in even more danger. So he prepared for a rainy day and arranged a chess piece first? From today's appearance, your Wang family's old ancestor hasn't fallen. Jiang Li immediately knew that the Wang family's position was stable and unshakable. Wang Chao was the #1 human on Earth 200 years ago, the martial arts emperor. Later on, when humanity developed, he was the first person to break through 3 digits in vitality and the first person to reach the vision domain. His strength was now unfathomable. According to Hong Heiyu's speculation, his vitality was likely to break through 4 digit. This kind of person was already high up among the humans on Earth. His words were the law and no one could go against him. If anyone wanted to touch the Wang family, they would have to see if the old ancestor was still around. I wonder where old ancestor Wang Chao went? Luo Han asked curiously. He went to solve the hidden danger for humans on Earth. Wang Rulai was silent for a moment and told the truth. He was very frank. The reason why humans on Earth have been able to develop to this point is because of the fallen big ship. Without the big ship, humans on Earth would still be in the era of countries, unable to go out of the solar system and constantly fighting among ourselves. However, this big ship belonged to a great civilization in the universe. That civilization is so terrifying that even the old ancestor feels uneasy. Therefore, he must find that civilization and end this karma for humans on Earth. That civilization. Jiang Li and everyone else shuddered. Humans had indeed developed to this point because of that big ship. The civilization of that big ship was too advanced, and there were still many technologies that had not been developed, such as space folding technology and soul grafting technology. These 2 technologies were too advanced, and even the most advanced technology of humans had not been able to conquer them. If this civilization made a comeback, could Earth's civilization resist it? Would it be even more miserable than the cultivation world? The battles in the universe are all bloody. Ji Qingwu was immersed in the joy of the growth of her vitality as she sighed. Although humans on Earth now have the upper hand and are conquering everywhere, we are like fleeting lights in the wind when we encounter a powerful civilization. Therefore, we must never slack off. We must become stronger. For humans, for our race, for civilization, and of course for ourselves. Wang Rulai once again offered incense to the old ancestor, bowed a few times, and then stood up and said, "Let's go, Jiangli. Take a look at some of the resources I've hoarded. I still need you to transport them out and then sell them through the Red Emperor Group." Doors opened one after another. Jiangli looked at the base in the mountain. It was really impregnable, and the only thing it lacked was energy. A real expert could split the whole mountain with one sword strike. For example, Chen Tianshu could completely destroy the base with one sword strike if he held the spiritual sword. The terrible power of the spiritual sword still remained in Jiang Li's heart. Suddenly, a terrible thought came to him. Chen Tianshu obtained the spiritual sword to destroy the human base. It probably wouldn't be long before the base of Starry Sky University would usher in a huge change. A huge warehouse opened, and countless resources were hoarded inside, all of which were treasures from the Emperor's star. Jiang Li even saw some attribute spirit stones. In addition, there were large pieces of spirit stones, gene potions, fruits of life, and all kinds of rare medicines. They were all piled up like mountains. I've been in Starry Sky University for 7 years and have obtained the qualification to immigrate to the elite area. However, I didn't leave because once I left, I would never be able to come to the Emperor's star again. It would be a pity if I couldn't bring these resources out. Wang Rulai waved his hand as if stroking the wealth out of thin air. Selling these things to Starry Sky University won't bring us much wealth, but if we can sell them outside, we can earn at least 10 times or even dozens of times more money. Moreover, we can secretly buy some resources, do business, and make a fortune. If this continues, the Red Emperor Group will definitely become one of the top 500 human organizations in less than 3 years. One of the top 500 human organizations? That would be awesome. Luohan knew what it meant to be one of the top 500 human organizations. Each of them was a giant enterprise, and with a stomp of their feet, the human economy would tremble. Being one of the top 500 human organizations was the dream of all businessmen. Jiangli, you should go back to Earth in a few days. I'll go with you. We'll wipe out the black market and sell these goods. We'll also drive the Jiang family out. I want to accumulate funds and upgrade the battleship. Only then can I go to the Black Dragon Pond to do something big. Wang Rulai's eyes revealed a cold glint. The Jiang family has secretly played tricks against my Wang family time and time again, causing my uncle to suffer for so many years. Now they have reoccupied the black market and continue to oppose my Wang family. This is really intolerable. Chapter 170. Okay. When you return to Earth, we can really wipe out the Jiang family's influence in the black market. Hearing this, Jiang Li was also shocked. Wang Rulai was a great master with a double-digit vitality. He was unfathomable and could tear apart a sonic mecha with his bare hands. If he went to the black market, he would definitely be able to crush everything. Of course, there were also masters of the Jiang family gathered in the black market. It was Jiang Li's long-cherished wish to eradicate the Jiang family's influence and occupy the black market. Studying the essence of the sun and the moon was his father's lifelong wish, and he also hoped to help his father fulfill this wish. More importantly, once the black market was taken over, he could continue to sell all kinds of forbidden drugs through the black market in the future. He could also establish a large group that did not belong to the Jiang family. Otherwise, he would not be able to gain a foothold in the human society alone. Brother, open the space and let's move all these resources in. We can't carry them all at once, but we can do it 10 or 20 times. Wang Rulai and Jiang Li discussed the next arrangements. Jiang Li nodded and opened the space, and a huge space portal appeared. Luohan, Xueling, Lei Zheng, and Ji Qingwu were all dumbfounded by Jiang Li's space. However, they were all elites and instantly understood what was going on. They didn't ask any questions and just waited for the goods to be moved to the side. At this time, silence was better than words. In fact, in all fairness, a space of 1,000 square meters and 10 meters high could hold a lot of things, but it was still not enough for the goods piled up here. It seemed that the space had to continue to expand. Fortunately, every time they went through a wormhole, the space would expand a little. After Jiangli went back and forth to Earth a few more times, the space would also expand. In the future, the various magical effects of the Emperor's relic would appear again. Under Wang Rulai's command, countless robots swarmed in and carried the goods in an orderly manner. They did not stop until the entire space was full. In the end, these robots also stayed in the space. Jiangli slowly closed the space. Let's not delay any longer. Let's return to Earth now. Earth, the home of human beings. I haven't been back for a long time. Wang Rulai could not wait, and his eyes were full of longing. That was the home of all humans. Let's go. Let's go back to our hometown now. The 6 people left the mountain base together, took the battleship to the wormhole jump station of Starry Sky University, bought tickets, and waited for the space jump. Please accept the examination. On the platform of the wormhole jump, a group of people in white armor walked over and began the inspection. This was a process that students had to go through before leaving the Emperor planet. You are not allowed to bring any precious items, including your mecha and even your flying swords. This is the school's rule. Of course, you can take some small local specialties back. We are just doing a routine inspection. The inspector became polite when he saw that it was Wang Rulai. Okay, you can check it, Wang Rulai said. A huge laser beam shone down, illuminating all of them. A moment later, the AI reported, inspection complete, no prohibited items found, you may be allowed to pass. Alright, let them through. The AI immediately began to transmit the data and record it. Every time a student went on a trip, there would be a record of their information. In the future, with proof, they would be able to conduct further investigations. This was the era of big data. Rumble. The huge jump battleship appeared, heading for Earth. Jiang Li and the others boarded the battleship, and the battleship closed. Then, with another tremor, a wormhole opened up, and countless spatial distortions appeared one after another. Every time a wormhole jumped, Jiang Li could feel the power of humanity's great technology. Even humans with a vitality of 3 digits couldn't use their physical bodies to jump. Even for those masters of the soul, they could reach the distant starry sky using the power of the soul. Material was material and technology was technology. It was a completely different path from cultivation, a fork in the path of civilization evolution. Humans on Earth had embarked on a different path on the path of evolution. The battleship began to jump violently. This time, Jiang Li felt the power of the wormhole continuously transmitted to the Grand Emperor's relic. It was the power of the vortex space when the wormhole formed. The Grand Emperor's relic loved to absorb the power of space-time distortion. Every time it absorbed it, the space would expand and become more stable, indestructible, and extremely stable. His divine will could even feel the expansion of the space, as if his cells were expanding. The space was originally 1,000 square meters and 10 meters tall, but as it slowly expanded, it gradually became 1,500 square meters and 15 meters tall. It had expanded by half, and the volume inside had increased by a lot. Moreover, some of the wormhole jump energy began to merge with Jiang Li's cells. The 5 flying swords in his flesh were kept into the space, afraid that they would be detected. But now, as Jiang Li's cells strengthened and merged with the space energy, the 5 flying swords once again turned into energy and merged with his flesh. Jiang Li's body flickered with a golden light. As the space of the Grand Emperor's relic expanded, his body's cells also possessed the power of space. It actually created a neutralization effect with the flying swords, allowing them to better merge with his cells. When the flying sword's energy became his own energy and couldn't be detected, that was the state of sword body as one. At that time, His body would have an additional energy body like a reactor, and his entire life form would be completely different. It was just that he didn't know when he would reach this state. Just like that, Jiang Li and the 5 flying swords repeatedly tempered themselves in the wormhole jump. The body's bloodline and space energy combined with the flying swords, causing the flying swords to undergo changes. This was something that even the creator of the flying swords didn't expect. This was because the creator of the flying swords didn't have the ability to open wormholes. When the flying swords merged with space energy, it would produce a terrifying power. Of course, the current technology wasn't able to do this, and it was impossible to merge the power of space into the human body and the flying sword. This was already considered a space-folding technology. But now, the flying swords communicated with Jiang Li's body through the Grand Emperor's relic, undergoing the space tempering. Finally, the flying swords became smaller and smaller until they almost disappeared. They shuttled through Jiang Li's flesh without any obstruction, just like his blood. Jiang Li's blood also started to turn a faint golden color. He felt that his body really had the feeling of turning into a golden body. After an unknown period of time, the battleship fluctuated again. Jiang Li felt that the gravity around him was different, and his body was light, almost able to fly freely in the sky. "We've finally reached Earth." Everyone couldn't wait to get out of the battleship. They saw the sea, the blue sky, the white clouds, and the red sun. It was a beautiful picture of their hometown. Jiang Li took a deep breath. Although the air on Earth had been purified, it was still far inferior to the air on the Emperor's star. However, Jiang Li could smell the familiar smell of his hometown. This smell intoxicated him. He leaped out of the battleship and glided in the sky. He used the strength of his body to control the airflow, and he was light and free. On the Emperor's star, he could glide easily even with 3 times the gravity, reaching a height of 20 to 30 meters. Now on Earth, he was even more relaxed. He was like a bird that could soar up to a height of 100 meters and glide down easily. This was without the speed of the flying swords in his body. My 5 flying swords. While Jiang Li was gliding, he suddenly felt that deep in his dantian, 5 golden energy spheres had appeared. Sword pellets. The 5 sword pellets condensed together and formed the 5-star alignment. Jiang Li felt that with a thought, the 5 sword pellets could fly out and turn into flying swords to kill enemies. Furthermore, the 5 sword pellets could also turn into huge spheres or swords to wrap around him and fly quickly. "Alright, Jiang Li, let's go back first. Don't glide here." Wang Rulai walked out of the battleship and called out to Jiang Li. Jiang Li turned back and landed. "So this is Earth, the mother planet of our human race." Ji Qingwu and Lei Zheng looked around with interest. Although the environment isn't good, there is indeed a familiar smell. It's the source of our bloodline. It's the soul of our ancestors. None of them were from Earth. They had grown up on another planet, but their bloodline was that of Earth. This was their home planet, and it had special emotions and powers. 200 years ago, the ancestors of humans had fought on it. After a while, a flying car arrived and landed. From it, a figure appeared. She had almond-shaped eyes and rosy cheeks, and a lithe figure. It was Jiang Li's former teacher, Chu Cixi. She looked at Jiang Li, then at Wang Rulai and the others in surprise. She smiled and said, "Jiang Li, you're finally back. Get in the car. Let's go to the headquarters of the Red Emperor Group to have a look. They've just built a framework." "This is Mr. Kurong's nephew." Jiang Li quickly introduced them. "You know Luohan and Serene. The other 2 are my seniors and also students of Star Sky University." "Hello, my name is Lei Zheng." Ji Qingwu. Everyone greeted Chu Cixi and got in the car together. The car took everyone into the distance. After a while, they saw a group composed of 3 mountains and an island. Many large machines were being renovated and built, but they were all done manually. There were no robots. It seemed that the technology on Earth was at least 100 years behind that of Star Sky University. The flying car stopped on the crescent moon-shaped island. The island was also under construction, but the tallest tower had been built. It was emerald green and reflected the blue sea and sky. Is that Wang Rulai? As soon as everyone got out of the car, a voice came from a distance. Swish! Wang Rulai rushed over and knelt in front of a middle-aged man. Uncle, I didn't expect to see you again. I thought I would never see you again in this life. There were tears in his eyes, which were obviously tears of joy. This middle-aged man was Wang Changrong. Don't cry, don't cry. I've come out of the sea of bitterness, been transcended, and become a bodhisattva. You should be happy. Wang Changrong touched Wang Rulai's hair. My name is Wang Changrong, but in fact, in this world, success, failure, and emptiness will always change. There is no such thing as eternal prosperity. One withering and one flourishing is the eternal truth. No, uncle, in my heart, you will always be the invincible god of war. In this world, there is no fixed number between permanence and impermanence. I think uncle can flourish and wither with a thought. Changing between flourishing and withering, changing between permanence and impermanence. This is the Bodhisattva Mahasattva. Wang Rulai stood up. Ha ha ha! Wang Changrong smiled with relief. You are indeed a member of my Wang family. You have your own path and will never retreat. I am very pleased. In time, our Wang family will have another strong practitioner in the embryonic breathing realm. He will be an earth-shattering big shot. The two of them hugged each other tightly. Wang Changrong patted his nephew's back forcefully. You are indeed the blood of our Wang family. Our Wang family's seed is always good. Even Jiangli was infected by this atmosphere and felt a lump in his throat. Jiangli, come here. Wang Changrong waved his hand. Jiangli dashed over with a whoosh. Old master, I haven't seen you for a long time. You look even younger. Wang Changrong had indeed become a middle-aged man, but there was a lingering aura of old age on his body. It was as if he had seen through the vicissitudes of life, and was no longer afraid. His vitality had also reached 5. Moreover, it was still growing. Changding's spiritual realm, as long as there were resources, could quickly grow to 10. This kind of person's spiritual realm was the bodhisattva of the 8 earthly realms. With the support of spiritual energy, he could instantly become a Buddha. Let's go in and talk. Wang Changrong waved his hand. This place is too conspicuous. Yes, uncle. Wang Rulai walked behind him. The few of them walked into the hall. The sea and sky were one color, and the surrounding sky was blue. You two are also students of Starry Sky University. Are you Lei Zheng and Ji Qinggu? The Lei family and the Ji family are not bad either. These years they have some tricks up their sleeve. Both of you are very strong. Wang Changrong casually made small talk. Old mister, you flatter us. Lei Zheng and Ji Qinggu both knew that Wang Changrong was an important figure in the Wang family, so they couldn't help but be in awe. We also received the blessing of the Wang family's ancestor this time. Old mister, if you need anything, we will definitely do it for you. What? The Wang family's ancestor blessed us? Wang Changrong's expression changed slightly as he looked at Wang Rulai. Yes, the ancestor did bless us. Wang Rulai told them what had happened on the Emperor's star base. I think the ancestor's blessing this time is obviously because of Jiangli. A storm is brewing. It seems like the old ancestor knows something. Wang Changrong turned to look at Jiangli and said thoughtfully, Jiangli is not an ordinary person. He received the fate of an alien cultivator. This is the cause, and there will be incredible karma in the future. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.